producing Behind the Glass. I'm Joe Kraus. See you next time, everybody.
Thanks for listening to tonight's Labor and Energy Special. You can help. Call your congressperson and join the movement to push back on RINs. This program is paid for by Jacob Media Partners. All opinions or statements expressed on this program are solely those of Jacob Media or its guests and do not reflect the views of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program is pre-recorded.
Go green in style on Friday, August 4th at 7:05 when the Phils face the Royals. All fans receive a sustainable Phillies cap presented by PGW. Secure your seats at Phillies.com. Nothing like a summer night at the ballpark. Spend yours at Citizens Bank Park when the Phils welcome the Nats for a 4-game set on Monday, August 7th through Thursday, August 10th, all at 6:40. Order tickets now at Phillies.com.
WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is one of those days that if you're in school and your teacher's droning on and on about this, that, or the other, you say, can we please have class outside? It is gorgeous in God's creation today in the Delaware Valley and beyond. Climate change, the climate crisis, global boiling, whatever phrase you want to use, it changes from week to week. We're getting a break from it, at least for the next several days, and I'm all here for it. I guess I'll stop spraying my aerosol can into the sky just long enough so we can all enjoy a repass from the heat. Producer Dan, welcome back to the Matt Rooney Show. I am the aforementioned Matt Rooney, coming to you 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard here on 1210 WPHT.
But Matt, can we have the show outside, please?
Do you know how to hook everything up outside?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We could get some very interesting man-on-the-street human interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it wouldn't work. You need another producer here.
Why do we need a second one?
You need someone around
You
the
can
board.
handle both?
Well, no, you have to hook up outside and then connect it to the board in here, and someone needs to run the board from in here while we're outside.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I can't do all that. I can't keep running back and forth, plus the video stream. I'm not that powerful.
You're a wiry little monkey guy. You can't run in and out of the building?
No.
Okay. All right. I guess I have more faith in you than you sometimes have in yourself.
Probably.
I have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unrealistic body standards.
Unrealistic body standards?
Yeah.
Do you feel body shamed?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just jealous
I know.
because you're half my weight. I can't get to my hotkeys, by the way.
You can.
Can I register a complaint here at the onset of tonight's program?
We've been over this before.
No, I don't. I don't have a mouse.
They're touchscreen.
Yeah, how is this new touch? We haven't been over that before.
Yes, it's touchscreen.
No, before. I want the record to be clear. What we talked about before is that I couldn't navigate to my screen. I had to go through Zioli's stuff. I had to go through Dom's stuff.
No.
I had to go through Nikhil's stuff. Dom has a page devoted just to Columbus Day, by the way, which should surprise no one. He's our favorite Italian-American here in the city of not-so-brotherly love. There's something for The Godfather. There's something for Animal House. Once you guess past Star Wars and holiday drops, you might find the Matt Rooney Show on here. Oh, there it is. Found it. Beautiful.
You also know if you hit index and then find Matt Rooney Show, that's there. So you don't have to scroll.
Everything you say is snarky, even when I don't think you're trying to be snarky.
No, because everyone does it at the station. Everyone does it, and it's a big pet peeve of mine. Everyone scrubs through the arrows, and everyone's like, just hit index, and it shows you all the pages for it. I mean, this is inside radio, but like still.
No, that's okay. I think that's part of the reason why 1210 WPHT listeners love these programs, because we take them inside the show, right? You come here for our opinions. You also come here because we pull back the curtain on how things work in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun here for the next 3 hours covering all of the above and beyond. Once again, very busy news cycle despite the fact that it is late July, normally a time when Americans are going on vacation. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the times we live in. Maybe it's the fact that no one can afford to go on vacation anymore thanks to Bidenflation. We're supposed to call it Bidenomics right now, but whatever you call it, it's fairly miserable. I went to a local restaurant chain that you all know today. I won't say which one.
Pizza Hut.
I wish there was more Pizza Huts.
I love Pizza Hut.
There are many times when I would probably sell, I don't know, one of my organs for stuffed crust pizza.
I think Pizza Hut is the best fast food pizza that's out there. I'm just going to say it.
It's good. Oh,
the
absolutely.
Stuffed crust pizza is amazing.
Yeah, because every other pizzeria chain that tries it, it's just a worse version of what you can get at a local privately owned pizzeria.
Yeah.
Papa John's, Domino's. Sure, if you're in the middle of the country and you're not in the pizza belt where it ordinarily tastes like ketchup on a cracker, by all means get Papa John's, any port and storm, right?
Well, pizza
But
or
Pizza Hut.
ketchup on a cracker with some cheese, that's a pizza, right?
If you're in Kentucky.
Okay, well, sorry to all you Kentuckians out there.
No, I love our friends out there. There's plenty of things they do great. If I want a good bourbon, I'll go to Kentucky.
Nice Pappy Van Winkle.
Nice Pappy Van Winkle, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about pizza, my man.
Sorry.
It's like bagels. You can't get bagels outside of certain
sorry.
parts of the country.
What'd you say?
A bagel.
Okay.
What's the matter?
You're just saying it weird. It's like milk.
Bagel is weird to you?
Bagel.
How am I saying it differently?
Bagel. You're saying it beg. You know, you're saying like B-E-G. I'd say B-A-Y-G. Beg. You know?
So you're saying it like Kale, Nick Kale, bagel. And I'm saying bagel like beg. I'm begging you to stop being a jerk.
B-E-G-U-L. Bagel.
Okay.
Bagel, you know? Like
Bay, like someone's your bay.
yeah, like just like that.
That's a Gen Z-ism, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about you today, not only because I have to suffer you for 3 hours tonight,
That's so cute.
but I was with all my nephews, my niece, and everything earlier today, and the one that's 10 explained to me what Riz is,
Yeah,
which we went over this year.
Yeah.
And I knew, and I was excited.
Yeah, because you're like, I know that word.
It's like swagger, right? Like
No one says that anymore.
no one says Riz.
No, swagger.
Okay, well, I'm using it to describe what Riz means.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, if you want yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta rizz up the ladies, you know?
Well, it's been a long time since I've rizzed anybody, I think. I got to be honest with you here. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show, should you wish to call in and participate the old-fashioned way. Alternatively, if you know how to use the computer machine or the device, Android, iPhone, or otherwise, you can go on to the YouTube, and you can go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT, and you can follow along online where you can see moi. You can also see producer Dan in his booth occasionally when the producer cam is activated. I am wearing a sweatshirt tonight, not wearing anything colorful because it's a little bit cooler in the Del Val tonight, especially along the banks of the Schuylkill. I just came from Backyard Barbecue, mentioned that a moment ago. Tad bit chilly. And I'm not complaining. It was refreshing after the week we had. It felt like you were swimming through soup every time you went to your car, which, of course, our friends on the left seized upon because, you know, to them, summer is not a season. Summer is a crisis. It's an opportunity for them once every year to use normative weather. I've been on the planet for almost 4 decades. Every summer has been hot. That's something that you can count on. Every fall, leaves fall from the trees. Every winter, summer, obviously snowier than others. This past winter, not particularly snowy, but it's usually cold and you need to wear a coat.
I hate snow.
Right? You're not a snow fan?
I hate the winter. Despise it.
Well, I can imagine why.
I hate it.
When you weigh 70 pounds, it's a brutal, brutal season.
75. Get it right.
75 pounds, excuse me.
Thank you. Why are you weighting me?
Why am I mischaracterizing your weight?
Yeah.
Well, it's only because people, you know, you said at the top of the program tonight that I body shame you.
You do.
But it's really more because myself and the listeners here at the station worry about you. We don't think you're healthy. I'm worried that one bad cold is just going to wipe you out sometimes. And, you know, in the winter, it can be, for example, windy, and one bad gust is just going to blow you into the river. So it's born of concern. I'm not trying to be cruel.
Brian Locke on YouTube says snowflake.
Who, Dan or me or both?
I probably seems like it's me, but I would say that I hate going out in the cold. I'd rather not. I don't like snow either. If there was no snow, I'm fine, but
okay.
I wish.
Yeah, see, I like seasons. I'm a seasons guy.
I'm a fall guy.
Fall's great.
I love fall.
Well, I know you do like fall too because you're a big Halloween guy. You're a little spooky.
Great, big Halloween.
You like carving the pumpkins and watching the slasher movies.
Beginning of September to about middle November is my favorite time of year.
Yeah. It's a good time of year.
Yep.
But you know, this is the absurdity now we must deal with. That seasons are being treated as a symptom of coming impending global Armageddon, and it's getting a little exhausting, particularly since now, and I think we mentioned this on last week's program, there are some that are now arguing that there's a thing called asymptomatic global warming. So if you have a normative season, right, it's kind of what it's supposed to be for that time of year, that in of itself is now being held out as somehow indicative of the planet warming to the point where in some point down the road on the map in the future, it will be uninhabitable. Or at least we'll no longer be able to sustain life or live our lives in the same way that we have for the rest of human history. When it is hot, that is a symptom also, they say, of global warming. When it is super cold, that it's snowing, and Dan is wearing 6 blankets and he's on the couch.
7.
7?
6 doesn't do it for me.
He needs all 7.
I actually have a whoopee. I have my nice whoopee that I use every year.
I don't even know if I should ask what a whoopee is, but why don't you tell me anyway?
It's just a blanket.
It's just a blanket?
It's just a blanket.
Is this a blanket you've had since childhood?
I've had it for a long time. I don't know when I got it, but my mom calls it my whoopee.
She calls it your whoopee? Yeah,
it's a blanket that I can't live without. It's the most comfy blanket. Comfiest, most comfy, whatever the terminology is.
Either way, it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah,
regardless of how you call it or what you pronounce it.
So good. So warm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, look, I'm not going to be able to convince anyone here during the time allotted to me on 1210 WPHT to stop wigging out, to stop freaking out, to stop being triggered by normative fluctuations that happen every year in the temperatures of our world. But, you know, I at least want, if you are listening and you are an open-minded person and you're all concerned that we're all going to be incinerated by the sun in the near future, and I'm defining near future here as maybe the next few million years, relax. It's all going to be perfectly fine, despite their best efforts to freak you out. I mentioned global boiling earlier. That is the new catchphrase, Dan, of the global elites that push this green agenda, which we all know is just an excuse to make money off of you all, levy new taxes, impose new regulations, make you less free, and enrich those who benefit from hysteria. The UN Secretary General used the phrase this week, humanity is in the hot seat. That's UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He said it this week at a press conference. For vast parts of North America, Asia, Africa, and Europe, it is a cruel summer. For the entire planet, it is a disaster. And for scientists, it is unequivocal. Humans are to blame. He went on to assert that the science is settled. How often have we heard that recently? The science is settled. The entire point of science is that it is always open to scrutiny and reevaluation if a theory is implicated by new facts, right? We have new data, and that allows us to revisit something that we previously thought was the way that a particular thing is, but now maybe it isn't. Gutierrez continuing, all this is entirely consistent with predictions and repeated warnings. The only surprise is the speed of the change. Climate change is here. It is terrifying and is just the beginning. The era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived. I have to think that there's some email list that all these guys and gals are on where when they go through a particular news cycle and realize they haven't sufficiently freaked all of you out, that we want to give up our gas-guzzling cars and trade them in for Flintstones vehicles where we have to pedal with our feet.
I mean, if you want to ask anyone about emails, you can ask good old Hillary Clinton. She knows a lot about emails.
Well, these are the ones that did not get deleted from the server.
You want an email expert, so that's her new title.
Hillary.
Email expert.
She missed her calling as an IT technician.
Yeah, well, she also missed her calling to service her husband, too, but that's besides the point.
Oh, my. Ooh, do you want some more salt on that, Daniel? Wow.
Zinger.
Wow. I'll tell you what. This is going to be a good show.
Feeling the spunk today.
Yeah, when you're feeling a little spunky this early in the program, we're all in for quite the treat.
That's what you want to call it.
Well, I got to come up with something. Bella over on YouTube, the lovely. We call my wife Jacqueline the lovely Jacqueline. What are we going to call Bella?
I don't know. I don't know. We have to call her anything.
Wubby number 2. Is that what we're going to call her?
Wubby.
We know that your first allegiance is to your blanket. What do we call your girlfriend?
I don't know. I didn't even. She knows about the blanket.
No, I'm sure she does.
Yeah, she does.
You probably brought it on your first date.
Beautiful Bella.
The beautiful Bella.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Alliteration.
Yeah, the beautiful Bella. So the beautiful Bella over on YouTube. She says, "I also hate winter. I hate cold. I hate being cold." Well, you're dating a guy with a whoopee, so you got nothing to complain about now. Assuming you don't dump him before the winter.
Let me tell you something about being cold. All right, I come in this studio every single day, and I don't know who it is, but the studio behind you, 66 degrees. That is a disgrace.
66?
It's 66 degrees. That's a disgrace.
Well, better than 86.
Let's meet in the middle, go 70, 71.
Look, speaking as a lawyer, you can always put more clothes on, but there's only so many clothes you can take off without getting arrested. I live by that. So it's always better if
you can
it's a
do
little
everything
bit colder.
once. You know, you can do everything once. So if I want to go on the streets of Philadelphia and just start stripping.
You can only do everything once if you're Hunter Biden.
Well, he's doing it multiple times, but, I mean, smoking crack, he does a lot.
Now, Dan, he's in recovery.
Oh, really?
You can get away with anything in 2023 if you end it with, but I'm now in recovery.
That doesn't matter. You smoked cocaine on the way to going to recovery.
Yes, I used to sew live human children into footballs and throw them into a volcano.
But I'm in recovery.
I'm now in recovery, and it's okay. Yeah. That's how our society works. There's no accountability anymore, either for these quote-unquote scientists, right, that believe science is settled, and therefore in saying that, they're admitting that they're not actually open to an honest exploration of these concepts and what might really be happening in our world beyond the, less than 200 years that we've been keeping reliable climate data, right? Or in this context.
So, two things. Bella, as I said, I might be skinny, but I'm very warm. Apparently, I'm warm-blooded. Which is true.
Well, that's because, so when just before you get to your second thing, I want to respond to this. So, have you ever seen children go into the ocean when it's cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because when you're tiny, right, your circulation is often more efficient. So
Call me
that's what
child.
it is for you.
Call me child.
Yes.
Okay. She also said he hates when I put the AC in my car to 60. Yeah, I do. I despise it. She doesn't turn it off. So I physically turn it off because it's way too cold.
Bella, it's not for me to tell you what to do with your life, but temperature compatibility is very important. Usually important.
My apartment's always 71 to 72.
Oh, God. Even this time of year?
Very comfortable, yeah.
Make it an ice box, man.
I mean, my windows are open now because it's beautiful out.
Well, today is a different ball of wax, as they say.
Yeah, I think it's constantly 71 in my apartment.
71 I guess that's okay.
Great temperature.
Great temperature.
Does that mean I'm contributing to climate control or climate change?
Well, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you indicate. I think that every week. What does Dan's existence mean for the planet? What is it a sign of? We're not going to be able to figure that out over the course of the next 3 hours, but we're going to try to figure out some other stuff too and talk about some consequential things and be goofy and have lots of fun because that's part of the Matt Rooney Show philosophy. We don't avoid serious things, but we also believe laughter and a little bit of humor are important too. Because otherwise, you're just going to drive yourself crazy, and then you'll end up like Dan, living in a cat under your wubby with your temperature thermostat turned up way too high.
Not even thermostat, it's a window unit.
Well, that's okay. Listen, I love window units.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, but they're great if you make it cold, though.
Got both mine for free.
Check you out.
Yeah.
You are to window units what Donald Trump is to New York City real estate, man. Mr. Let's make a deal in there. 855-839-1210 is the number. Again, over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Let's take a break. Let's play some ads. Let's make some money. And then we're going to kick this edition of the Matt Rooney Show off in high gear here on 1210 WPHT.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
The latest heat wave is broken, but not before several areas of the tri-state suffer weather-related damage. A homeless advocate in Philadelphia will retire, sort of, next year. And you can soon buy those Eagles jerseys in Kelly Green.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Water sports are a great summer activity and can be eco-friendly too. Avoid activities like jet skiing or water skiing, opting for activities like kayaking or paddleboarding instead. Swimming, snorkeling, and diving are great activities too, and have virtually no impact on the environment. And use sunscreen labeled Reef Safe to help protect marine wildlife. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Parks Casino. Joe Conklin hosts national comedians every other Thursday. It's Joe Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks. Show dates and tickets. Go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Educate yourself on carbon capture and RINs. Listen to the Labor and Energy Show, presented by PBF Energy, Steamfitters Local 420, Local 74, Eastern Region of Carpenters, and the United Steelworkers. Listen to the Labor and Energy Special this Sunday night at 6.
Calling on Sewell, New Jersey to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Never feared for anything. Never shame, but never free. A life that healed the broken heart with all that it could. Lived a life so endlessly. Saw beyond what others see. I tried to heal your broken heart with all that I could. Will you stay? Will you stay away forever?
Okay, so I'm not a conspiracy theorist. However, one bad fire that makes a part of a bridge or an overpass collapse over the course of just a few months, that may be a coinky-dink. Yeah. Two, in the same region, same transit system, same transportation system, I should say.
Is it the same system?
Well, by that I mean it's the same part of the world and the same people that are using both for egress, right? Getting from one side of the Delaware River to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. I'm referring, of course, to the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge closure, in case you've been busy doing something else today, which I wouldn't blame you given the weather. Maybe you're down the beach. Maybe you're up in the mountains. Maybe you're just hanging out at home listening to 1210 WPHT, trying to decompress from your week. The Tacony-Palmyra Bridge closed in both directions in Philly and South Jersey because of a truck fire. The truck caught fire around 4:40 p.m. on Sunday. So it's only been going for about a couple hours now, few hours. God, do you see this picture? Look at that smoke. For those who don't know, maybe if you're listening outside the area, plenty of you do, the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge, it connects Route 73 out of Burlington County in New Jersey with Route 73 in Northeast Philly, the Tacony neighborhood specifically. Duh, it's in the name of the bridge. So I don't think at this point there has been a collapse. but it's closed, and there is a giant fire, and it's not looking too hot. Well, it's looking hot.
I was going to say, it's pretty hot.
Pun not intended.
It's pretty hot.
But lots of smoke. So what is going on? Two of these things in a relatively short period of time.
Do you want to take bets on how long it's going to take Shapiro to get this one up and running?
Oh, he's already out there in a truck with the Fanatic, making wild claims about how quickly he's going to open it.
Meanwhile, 95 is still in a temporary fix. They just got to temporarily fix this one, too.
Yeah, I don't know. And some of our friends...
You think we're going to get a bridge cam?
I think we have to now, right?
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed when they were putting up that temporary fix for 95 because you actually got to see the construction guys, what you see when you're driving by the construction guys, right? There's like 30 of them, and maybe 2 of them are moving a piece of machinery around. Everybody's kind of hanging out, waiting to decide what to do next.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a scene. I can't imagine why it takes so long and it's so expensive to maintain our roads and build our roads and all that good stuff. Goodness gracious. So, yeah, I mean, at some point, assuming there's going to have to be repair work done here. I mean, I'm no expert in transportation, Daniel. I'm no Pete Buttigieg, right? What do I know? But
Mayor Pete!
I would imagine that there's going to be some kind of reconstruction work that's going to happen here. That much heat to throw off that much smoke. Can't imagine it's not doing damage to the Tacony Palmyra. So if you use the Tacony Palmyra to commute tomorrow morning, going to be a heck of a lot of fun for you. My condolences in advance here. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. Again, over on YouTube if you want to get in on the chat or just watch passively. It's your choice. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. And be sure to like. I think since last Sunday when I was on, we surpassed 4,000 subscribers, right?
We're at 4.07 subscribers.
Did you feel proud, Daniel?
Sure. Yeah.
You built this thing.
I mean,
this is your field of dreams.
It's mainly Greg who was pandering, but, we got there, so.
Yeah, well, you went on, though, and clicked some buttons and made the YouTube page go up, so
Look,
when I'm willing to give you credit for something, why don't you lean into it?
I don't like taking credit for things that I've done.
That is not true. That is not
There's
accurate.
some things that I will take credit for. There's some things just like,
Yeah. All right. Well, look, if you're trying this new humble thing.
I don't need praise to know that I'm doing a good job.
See, I'm a millennial. My generation, we demand constant praise and affirmation, right?
No, the way I think is if I think I'm doing a good job, then I'm doing a good job. I don't need anyone else to tell me that it's like, hey, you're doing good. I mean, it's nice to hear every once in a while, but majority of the time, if I think I'm doing a good job, then that's all that matters to me.
Aw. Proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. You know what? I'm going to get you a new Wubby this year.
No,
just to show my appreciation.
You can. I'm not going to use it,
for
though.
all your personal
There's
growth.
only one Wubby that I will use, and that's the only Wubby that I will use for eternity.
There's only one Wub?
Yep.
All right.
And I've had it for years.
That's creepy. 855-839-1210 is, again, the number. And by the way, you can follow me on Twitter. Matt Rooney NJ is the handle. But it's not Twitter anymore. It's X.
It's Twitter.
That's something else that's happened in the last
Twitter.
week. No, I mean, look, this is like transgender 101, right? Those then be the rules, right? You're entitled to be called what you want to be called. So Elon says that Twitter is transitioning to X, so that's what it now will be called.
I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it a thing for everyone. I get it. And he wants to have it compatible.
How does X make it a thing for everyone?
He's trying to make it so it's compatible with basically every single company that he has.
Well, how does that make it for everyone? It's just him attempting to brand this whole X thing. Tesla, SpaceX, right? He's trying to.
He loves the letter X, yes, but
Yes.
I think he wants to make it a new thing.
What is this thing with X?
I don't know.
His
son is X
Pirate Treasure movies or something?
Yeah, his son's name has a X in it.
Yeah.
Some weird name, but I get what he's trying to do. But
When you
I
have
don't really
that
care.
kind of a net worth, you can afford to be that weird.
Well, he has
You or I
Asperger's.
have a kid and we name them X or put X in their name like that. It's not. People aren't going to find it as cute or as endearing.
I mean, he's named after a plane, so.
Yes, that's true.
His favorite plane.
His favorite plane. Is that a plane noise?
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
That's more of a laser.
Yeah,
right?
There goes the Archangel. Oh, who's that on the playground? Oh, that's just Archangel.
Look, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't get it. As you said, I understand what he's trying to do. It's just Twitter has a brand. Now, arguably, it's a brand that's been tarnished by all of the censorship that preceded Elon's taking over of the company. So you could argue that maybe the bird needed to be scrapped and rebooted.
I don't know. I think it's people are saying that he's now driving the company to the ground by rebranding it, which I think it's smart. Take the old Twitter and make it something new because it's not the old Twitter anymore. So I get what he's trying to do, but at the same time, I don't really care.
Well, why should anyone care?
I don't use Twitter religiously, so I don't really care.
I mean, you're entitled to have an opinion of just about anything, right? I mean, that's the way that it works in a free country with a First Amendment, right?
Not if people don't like your opinion.
But that's the thing, right? There is always been a plethora of opinions in this country about a number of different things. We're opinionated people. Again, that comes with the territory. Being judgmental is on the rise in this nation.
I'm extremely judgmental. In my mind, I don't.
Well, it's all about whether it escapes your mouth.
Yeah.
Right, but it's I mean, I get it. I get it. He wants to move away from the era of Twitter being presented as a free speech space. Say that 3 times fast, but it really wasn't. And this problem that we have with social media and platforms not truly being fair playing fields for people with opposing views and different ideas. It was underscored this week by this latest affirmation that Facebook and the U.S. government were actively colluding to censor anyone who questioned the COVID-19 narrative, which we all know it's still happening. It's still happening. You are still being censored, and there are some people who have still not recovered their accounts because they questioned conventional wisdom. That's settled science. There's that term again. Even though that settled science has since been repudiated by the same experts that were telling us just a year and a half ago that if you question this, you're not only wrong, but you're killing people. You're as good as pushing grandma in her wheelchair off the ravine. Right? But now we know that it was even worse than we thought it was before. We already knew it was pretty bad. This is from the Washington Post this week. President Biden's White House aides pressured Facebook to censor a COVID-19 vaccine meme and a post by Tucker Carlson, according to files released Thursday by the House Judiciary Committee. And by the way, look, I spend plenty of time on this show over at my website, SaveJersey.com, criticizing Republicans because they often deserve it.
You have a website?
But enough.
That's interesting.
You're right. It does work. It is.
They're just going to give you false information? Yeah, probably, actually. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Rashida Tlaib.
Thank you, Rashida Tlaib. Classy lady. Very classy. No, I don't think that you would ever lie to me. I think that you would perhaps manipulate the truth to serve your own selfish ends. That's what I think, Dan. I actually don't think it. I know it. But back to Facebook's efforts to do the exact same thing. In an April 2021 email, Nick Clegg, Facebook's president for global affairs, who, by the way, used to be a fairly prominent UK politician, wrote to colleagues that Andy Slavitt, a senior advisor to Biden, who was steering COVID-19 policy, was, quote, outraged, not too strong a word to describe his reaction, that Facebook did not remove this post. Which post? They were referring specifically to a meme shared by user Timothy McComas that featured actor Leonardo DiCaprio's character from the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, pointing at his TV with a beer and a cigarette in hand. The image was captioned, 10 years from now, will you be watching TV and hear, did you or a loved one take the COVID vaccine? You may be entitled ... Now, of course, we have since found out that some of what the smart people, the wise people, the quote-unquote experts told us about the COVID vaccine was nonsense. Most notably when Joe Biden told Americans, all 330 plus million of us, that, hey, if you get this thing, you're not going to spread the virus. That obviously was completely false. Not a iota of truth to that, right? But people were censored. They had their accounts shut down. They received all sorts of negative consequences, which impacted not only their individual freedom of speech, but also had an impact on the national debate. A negative impact on the national debate because it perpetuated the narrative favored by the government. That's why we have a First Amendment. It's not to protect us from the actions of someone else, another private citizen or organization that disagrees with our speech and wants to put forth a different opinion. It's to protect the government from picking losers and winners in the realm of public debate. And that's the problem here. It goes beyond Facebook, a private company censoring people. The government was actively leaning on them to censor people. And you wonder how deep it all goes, right? I've talked about this before in the show. And keep your mouth shut, Daniel. Over my website, SaveJersey.com, we are actively being suppressed by Facebook. Every time I log on, they tell me that I'm in danger of losing my account and that they're no longer recommending my website to users. So in other words, even if you like Save Jersey, and we've got thousands of people that like our page, it's not being recommended to you anymore. It's not showing up in your news feed, right? Because we shared a meme of Hunter Biden in his underwear, a picture that's everywhere, him in his laptop, right? And he's holding on to a bunch of balloons, like the guy from that Disney movie Up, and it says Chinese spy balloon. That's all it is. Facebook told me that is dangerous sexual content. It's sexual exploitation of an adult, which the idea that anybody exploits Hunter Biden is absolutely ridiculous on multiple levels, right?
And
as a result, they're
right
censoring
now.
us. He's what?
Hunter Biden's blessing the studio right now.
He is blessing the studio. There's a picture. Is there any way to show that on YouTube?
That's a pain to do, and then I got to change the camera. I got to change it.
You have to change the camera angle, yeah. Just kind of gesture to people so they know.
It's right above my computer here.
Oh. Yeah. So that was my website's great sin, and as a result, thousands of people who ordinarily liked Save Jersey stuff on Facebook shared Save Jersey stuff. Now they can't. So, I know that Facebook is in the bag for the bad guys. That's clear enough, right? Because these tech companies are populated by these lefties out in Silicon Valley who don't just disagree with my worldview. They don't think that my worldview should be dignified, that my right of expression is invalid and shouldn't be amplified or even treated as something that's deserving of dignity, right? Now, I have to say to myself, was the White House involved in suppressing the kinds of things that Save Jersey are sharing? I'm not so egotistical as to think that maybe there's a file on me over at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But we now have proof that that kind of activity was occurring. One wonders. And it's one of the many reasons why everyone should be terrified of the road that we're currently walking down. And you got to vote so we can go in a different direction. Otherwise, 1984, here we are. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take another break, and we'll be back with more in just a second.
Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill, the energy bill that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12 months same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the hot streak and the hot tubs. Go for a relaxing massage and for wild nights with your entourage. Go to play all day and to dance all night. Go for the rooms with the ocean views that go on forever. Go for paradise with a pair of dice. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older. Party responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. During summer, be sure to use dishwashers and stoves in the evening to minimize the effects of heat. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Don Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Dom Giordano noon till 3. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
I ask every week at about this time, producer Dan, is there a theme to the music tonight?
Nah.
2 weeks in a row, have you given up?
Someone. Yes and no. I always I'm trying to actively think for themes that are somewhat easy, and then I just say I kind of like playing my own music.
Right.
So then I just don't have one. I always think of a theme, and I'm just like, yeah, that's a good one. And then I'm just like, he wouldn't get that.
Well, right. That's part of the problem. It's me. Right?
Yeah.
Because our music tastes are separated by a gulf.
I have a wide variety of music tastes that I like. And you only really stick to classic rock, so it's hard to find a theme that has just classic rock.
I mean, I stick to classic rock for stuff that you would play for bumper music on the radio. I like other stuff. Right? But we're not gonna play classical music on here.
I try to stay away from all the radio stuff that's played constantly. I think people already get enough of that. So I usually try to do obscure music that.
Well, this is good. This is pleasant on the ears. It's upbeat.
This is Ghost.
Yeah.
They're Satanists.
They're Satanists? I don't know. Oh, okay.
All their songs are about Satan, though. I'm seeing them live, actually. So.
Yeah, like negatively about Satan, positively about Satan?
Couldn't tell you. They just sing about Satan a lot.
Just sing about the devil a lot?
Yeah.
No, they sound like nice young men.
Good. I mean, they're good. Great. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So be it. Yeah. Here on the Matt Rooney Show, pointed cultural commentary, unrivaled political analysis, and Dan playing Satanist music.
This just in, positively about Satan. There you go. They're not negative. It's positively about Satan.
It's positively?
Yeah, the band has like its own.
They're pro him.
Yeah, the band has like its own religion, I guess. The religion is like the Ghost religion, which is the name of the band. It's very complicated, and there's a huge lore behind it. There's a huge backstory. It's extremely complicated.
So you're going to a concert for a band that is also a cult?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a cult, no.
What keeps it from being a cult? Because there's not much of a demand on your time. You just have to buy a ticket.
It's not really.
You don't have to wear Nike shoes and drink Kool-Aid and
kill
wait for a spaceship or anything like that.
If I had to say it, my favorite cult is Heaven Gate. That's all I got to say. I'll put that out.
They were committed. They were committed.
Yeah, they look fresh as anything when they killed themselves.
Bald heads.
No, it's.
I don't think you would look good with a shaved head. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, so
your head's not big enough.
No,
you need a larger head to look good bald. Yeah.
So essentially, the band's complicated. It's not really like a religion. It's not that you follow. It's just like the religion of the band. That's like the backstory of the band. Bella said it's like if you took the Christian church and flipped it on its head. So instead of God, it's Satan.
Bella, that's
she's 100% correct.
Satanism. That's
literally their concerts are called rituals then too.
All right. Well, I mean, are you going to be sacrificing a goat at this thing or anything like that?
No.
man, Gen Z Satanists can't even follow through.
This band has been around for ages.
Have they? Well, we've been over this. I don't follow
Band's been
a
around
wide
for
variety
ages.
of music.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you have fun at that, bub.
Oh, we will.
I'll hook you up with an exorcism when it's all done.
It's in Jersey.
Okay. Well, look.
It's in Jersey. I'll stop by.
The devil does quite well in New Jersey these days. He's got a lot to work with on my side of the river.
Is that
God
the
help
actual
us.
devil, or was that Phil Murphy?
Well, I think of Phil Murphy more as of like a demon that the devil like farted out. I don't know. He's not crafty enough to be Beelzebub himself, but kind of like a lesser lieutenant. I do think the devil would probably enjoy slaughtering whales and dolphins wholesale, which is what he's working on right now with those wind turbines they're trying to build off our coast. So there might be something there. 855-839-1210 is the number. Also over on YouTube, youtube.com/1210WPHT, talking about social media and further confirmation we got this week that, to the surprise of no one, these tech companies are not just censoring people of their own accord, acting in concert with the federal government. Creepy stuff, 1984 stuff, the war on not just your mind, but your children's mind, which I think is part of the concern here, right? I'm a big believer. I've said this before on the Matt Rooney Show. I think that social media access should be restricted to younger kids. At the very least, maybe you need to be an older teen before you can use it, because I think it's having a negative impact on kids' minds. I even watch my son when we let him use a tablet, and he goes into the zone. He is a different person. Prolonged use of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever else the youngsters are using these days, clearly not healthy for their brains. Not even arguable at this point. We also have to consider who is in charge of these platforms and who is using these platforms to manipulate them, groom them. Time to have a serious discussion. And it goes beyond social media. Did you ever go to summer camp, Daniel?
I love summer camp.
Did you?
I did.
Okay. I was a swimmer, so I was always on a swim team in the summer, which took you for most of the season. So I never went to a proper summer camp. I went to a sports camp in high school, but it was like for a week, and that doesn't count. So you went to a sports camp or a regular summer camp?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was just summer camp.
I assumed your parents wanted to get rid of you for a while, and that was a good way to do it.
I also wanted to go. I enjoyed being at summer camp.
And was it a sleepaway camp?
No, I went to. No, it was just a day camp until just my mom didn't have to really have a babysitter until we were old enough.
Okay.
And then when I was a junior in high school, then I went to a sleepaway camp for a program for school, and that was probably the best time I've had, and that was for a week.
Okay. All right. And it was just a day camp?
When I was younger, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's that time of year, right? Kids are going to camps, and they're having fun mostly, I would think. But you have to be careful even at these camps who your children are exposed to. There's a Libs of TikTok video which is making the rounds with a guy who presents that he's a camper, or I should say a camp counselor, somewhere, we don't know where, who worked to turn his children that he was in charge of into commies. Listen to this.
I was a camp counselor for 1 week and turned an entire cabin of 13-year-olds into leftists. Here's how. It started on day one when the kids of their own volition decided to have an election to see who would be president of the cabin. They had me track votes anonymously, and I may have broken the tie in favor of the obviously queer kid. Another kid who was weirdly obsessed with Russian history then asked if he could be Mikhail Gorbachev to the cabin, to which I said, I don't think so. You could be Karl Marx, though. He was thrilled. The kids then, somewhat clumsily, started discussing the merits of their communist government. It probably would have ended there, but on day two, the president told me that he had trouble sleeping the night before and asked me if I had anything to read. I had exactly one book with me, The ABCs of Socialism. This kid read the entire book in one night. The next day, another kid asked for it, and then another. By day 4, Karl Marx proposed that our cabin cheer be the communist cabin, where everyone is equal, and everyone agreed.
And everyone agreed. And he's just...
That's fake. That's fake.
You think it's fake?
There's no way these kids know about Marxism and communism.
Depends on the age of the kids.
No.
Nah, I mean, if they're high school age kids, there could be a nerd in there who knows who Karl Marx is. There absolutely could be. You were too cool to know about Russian politics when you were 15, 16 years old? Is that what you're telling me?
I didn't care about Russian politics when I was 15, 16.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. But there's kids out there that do know a little bit about this stuff. They're interested.
That's great.
I liked politics when I was that age.
Then they turned into leftists.
Well, they do if they're camp counselors of commie. The thing that strikes me about this, though, and let's accept for a second that this guy is who he says he is and did what he says he did, and it went down the way that he's describing it. One of the things that separates leftists from non-leftists like you and yours truly here, when I'm around children, I don't talk about politics. I don't see a young mind, and my first impulse and desire is let me fill it with my worldview. I enjoy kids. I love playing with my nephews, my niece. When my kids get together with other kids, friends, and they're playing on the beach or whatever, there is joy for an adult in seeing little minds at work and at play. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And those of you that have kids or love kids, you know what I mean when I say that. Why you would have this driving desire to pollute them with adult issues and to try to remake them in your own image when you have a casual interaction with them. I'm not even talking about if you're a history teacher and you want them to understand specifically about history. I'm talking about if you're their camp counselor for a week. Why would you do that? Or perhaps more to the point, what kind of person wants to do that?
There's a contradiction here.
What's the contradiction?
The beautiful Bella has a contradiction to your point. And I hope she knows that anything that she tells me is content to the show. So
okay.
I hope she realizes that. She said, my only problem with your argument here is the fact that the kids took it upon themselves to start those events at the camp, which is 100% true.
The kids took it upon themselves.
Right. The camp counselor didn't, provoke the thought of it. The kids were like, hey, let's hold an election to do this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I guess
how does that change anything?
So I guess that they're the ones who started it. It's not really the camp counselor doing it for them.
Do you ever really start anything, though, when it's an adult leading it?
What do you mean?
Right? Because there's an imbalance of power and influence when you've got an adult like that is pushing their worldview on kids, right? I mean, to me, that should be obvious.
I don't know. How old?
As an adult, by the way, you should also want to facilitate discussion by not pushing your worldview on them.
I don't think he was pushing a worldview on them, though.
Did you not hear what he said? He absolutely said he was pushing his worldview. The kid wanted to be Mikhail Gorbachev, and he said, no, you can't be Mikhail Gorbachev. How about Marx?
I mean, good for that guy for saying no to that one guy, you know?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying here. It's an adult that clearly wanted to use an opportunity to try to reshape a bunch of kids in his image that were at summer camp. So unless it was communist summer camp where a bunch of parents signed their kids explicitly up to be trained to be future members of the KGB,
yeah, but even
not much of an excuse for it.
Yeah, but even if the counselor didn't get involved, they still would have done it. You know what I mean?
I don't know how you're getting that from what that guy just said. They wanted to have an election, and he turned it into some kind of commie rally.
Right. They're the ones who wanted to start the election.
Right, but what does communism have to do with it?
The guy wanted to be part of Russia? I don't know.
Yeah, but do you know who Mikhail Gorbachev is?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so that's part of the problem here, perhaps. Mikhail Gorbachev was the final leader of the Soviet Union, right? Who is widely credited for helping transition the Soviet Union to a democracy for the hot second that it was, and before it was taken over by Boris Yeltsin. So the idea here is this kid wanted to be someone who is seen as a reforming figure, perhaps not a Democrat himself, but somebody that is hailed as a champion of Russia's democratic tradition, right? Because he helped bring it about, right? But no, I want you to be the guy that's the hero of the Soviet Union, the exemplar, the father of the communist movement.
Okay. I still think these kids would have just continued along with it.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's no basis for you to say that. because all the evidence from what this guy says points in the other direction. They wanted to have an election. He says, hey, let's set up a system where there's not elections. Communism, yay.
There's no elections in communism?
Not real elections, no. All right. I gotta do some work with you two. Bella, I'm gonna give you some.
I don't know. I just think kids will be kids, and that's what they do. I mean, if they're interested in it, why not? Just let them do it.
Yeah, kids will be kids. They go to summer camp and start Marxist revolutions on their own.
Who cares?
That's not the point. This guy fomented
Who cares?
it. All right,
I would have done it.
No, you wouldn't have.
Sure,
no,
you would have.
No, you wouldn't have.
There's plenty.
Don't you have a Ghost Satan concert to get to or something
That's
like
not
that?
Until August.
Don't you have any virgins to sacrifice
That's
or something
not
like
until
that?
August. I would have done. I've done stupid stuff in summer camp.
Oh my God. Well, look, see, the war is on for your children's minds. It could not be any clearer, right? And look, even Dan is getting taken in by it. And he has me as a positive example here for 3 hours every Sunday. And I'm even clearly doing a poor job of saving him.
No, I just.
So what chance do your kids have?
No, I just think it's because I don't have kids yet, so it doesn't bother me.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that I think too deep into it because I don't have kids.
That absolutely plays a role in all of this. And I've said it to you before, and my intent is not to do what sometimes people do if you don't have a personal experience with something, which is to invalidate your argument, right? I'm not trying to do that, but that's one of the challenges with a growing number of people in this country deciding not to have kids. I'm not talking about people that can't have kids. I'm talking about you're deciding not to have them. When you don't have a stake in the future, right, then it's hard to see some of this for what it is. And it's hard to appreciate, perhaps because that instinct hasn't grown in you yet, that fundamentally one of the number one things we're supposed to be doing as an adults, one of our driving goals in life is supposed to be to protect children, to allow them to have a normative childhood so they can grow strong, learn how to think, not what to think, not have their minds polluted or degraded by individuals like this camp counselor, so they can be the kind of citizens we need to continue to have a healthy republic. We don't have that, then everything else we're debating, the war in Ukraine, tax brackets, abortion policy, you name it, it all becomes academic. None of it matters because there is no future to fight over. So, yes, Dan, I'm glad you said it because I hate being that guy, but I do think that if you have kids 10 years from now, you will begin to look at some of these issues a little bit differently. And you will have a almost reflexive reaction to individuals like this camp counselor who could not be more obvious in what their true intent here is. He wasn't trying to set up a cool little mock election for these youngsters to be able to learn about democracy. These kids wanted to do something, and he used it as an excuse to try to impose his worldview on them. And it's sick stuff. It really is. Almost as sick as if I was a camp counselor, I made the kids listen to 1210 WPHD all day. As much as I'm a fan of it.
Some people do.
Some people make their kids listen to 1210?
Yeah.
Well, they should make them listen to this show, but not a camp, for God's sake. You should be having fun.
Yeah, what if those kids are having fun,
Well, listen, if that's how you have fun when you're a teenager, then I'm telling you right now, parents, they're going to turn into me. And is that really what you want for your kids? You have to shoot a little higher. 855-839-1210 is the number. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show. 1 hour down, 2 still left to go. So fill up that coffee mug, get yourself a snack, make yourself comfortable, enjoy this unseasonably beautiful summer night, and be right back here in a few minutes when we kick off hour number 2.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Summer is the perfect time to call Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy. Does your child or grandchild need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make that call to Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope founder Kathy Ganna, pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling learning and succeed at New Hope Academy. There's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call now for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy now, 800-300-0003.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hurts, gives it off, and keeps it, and rolls down to the 2, and is he in? Yes! He let it go, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Josh Sweat. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Josh Sweat! Deep down the far side, and it is A.J. Brown again! Another touchdown! He steps up, he's hit, he fumbles the football, but I think he has it. Nope. Now the Eagles have it! That'll be the game! He breaks away at the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Miles Sanders, touchdown! Wow. He is firing the football, and it is caught by Devontae Smith! Great catch! Attention, air traffic control. A flock of Eagles is heading to Arizona.
Sweet memories. Last season was so much fun, and I believe this season will be even better. If you want your business to be part of this season's Eagles Radio Network highlight reel, email advertise@94wip.com for information. More great action is quickly approaching.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
This night, walk the dead in a solitary style and crash the cemetery gates in the dress your husband hates. Lay down, mark the grave where the
Welcome back, boys and girls, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie elsewhere in between on the spectrum that is life. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show, coming at you for 3 hours every Sunday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard here on 1210 WPHT. We are in hour 2, or hour numero dos, as our Latinx representative producer Dan would say. And we're having a heck of a lot of fun already on tonight's program. We still have a ton left to cover. We've only touched the surface of the iceberg that is the Matt Rooney Show tonight. You were about to run right into. We still have to talk about the latest in election 2024. We have a Fatty McThunder Biscuits update, which I was thinking, Daniel, we need Fatty McThunder Biscuits, a.k.a. Chris Christie, update music. I think we're going to need that for the coming months.
You ask him for these musics, man. Like, you just think there's all this specific music that I can just grab.
I didn't say I want it right now. I said we're going to need it. That's me saying to you, as the host of this show, hey, Mr. Producer, maybe by like next week or something, we have a Fatty McThunder Biscuit update song.
Let me think.
Not even saying it has to be original. I'm just saying let's come up with something. It would be appropriate.
I got it already.
You have it already?
Yeah.
See? There you go. All right, should we do that now? Well, hold on. Let's give people all the information they need first. If you want to participate in tonight's show, 2 ways to do it. 855-839-1210 is the number if you want to call in the old-fashioned way. Or you can head over to youtube.com/@1210WPHT and participate in our robust online discussion among Matt Rooney Show listeners and viewers. And Steve is saying, I missed the flamingo shirt. I know. It's kind of cold in here tonight because it's only in the 70s outside. So short sleeves just weren't going to cut it.
Shirt's banned.
No, it's not banned. I'm probably going to have it on next week.
I'm not here next week.
You're not here next week?
No. If you're wearing that shirt, I'm not here.
All right. Well, I'll live with it then.
It's a heinous shirt.
Okay. All right. So should we do the Fatty McThunder Biscuit song if we have it?
Sure.
Okay. Let's give it a go and see whether or not this is appropriate for everyone's least favorite chunky governor.
Well, there's 2 options.
All right, well, let's do both, and maybe we can have a vote.
So let me pull up the other option.
We do believe in democracy around here.
Yeah, we do. I mean, now that we can do a poll off YouTube, you know.
Yeah.
All right, here's song 1.
Okay.
All right, you got that one?
You can imagine Chris Christie walking up to the debate stage.
Yeah.
And
then here's number 2. Hold on.
1 was pretty good. It's going to be hard to top.
Well, mine is 2. Just watch your mouth, or I'll sit on you.
It's Fat by Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah. Oh, this is hard.
Yeah.
See, sometimes I think you deliberately undersell yourself. So when you come through, it's more impressive. This Gen Z whining, why are you making me do my job? And then, boom, 2 songs. Beautiful. All right, well, let's I don't know, should we do a poll?
I don't know. It's your show. You can do whatever you want.
Well, no. Do you want to do a poll? Because you have to set it up.
I'm leaning towards number 1, to be honest with you.
Are you really? Because I was actually saying I was leaning towards number 2.
Oh, well, now.
So maybe we should do the poll. Let the people decide. Just imagine him walking up to a podium to say something nasty about Donald Trump. I'm Chris Christie. I like hot dogs. I like mustard and pies and chicken. Dum 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 dum. Yeah, I don't know. They're all good choices.
They are.
Navy Prepper over on YouTube says number 2 by far. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Let's let people weigh in officially here. But I got to say something about Chris Christie at the top of the program here for hour number 2, because he's going to play some kind of role in election 2024, the primary process at the very least. And he is continuing to lob verbal grenades at former President Trump, who continues to lead every survey that's been done by a solid double-digit margin. The national polls, 30-plus points. New Hampshire, Iowa, 20-plus points. No one's close. There is some jockeying for who is going to be second or third to lose to Donald Trump, but no real movement at the top. But Chris Christie has an agenda. We can guess at what it is, knowing who he is, which is one of the least authentic people in modern American politics, right? But he continues to take jabs at him all the same, regardless of what's motivating it. That's his strategy. That's the lane that he wants to park his fairly massive rear end in the middle of, right? He's closing all lanes, if you will, to being the orange man bad hater-in-chief in the Republican primary. And he took a very local to South Jersey hit on Donald Trump this week by hearkening back to the time when the Donald was in the Atlantic City casino business, appropriate for the shore season. Listen to this.
Because, you know, he had businesses in New Jersey when I was governor. He had casinos in Atlantic City, and they went bankrupt 3 times. Now, let me ask you something. How stupid do you have to be to lose money in a casino? The only people who lose money in a casino are us. I remember when the first time I ever went to Atlantic City, my father took me there when Atlantic City was the only other place other than Nevada that had casinos. And I went in to the casino, and I was 18 years old, so I was allowed to play, and I won $50.
Was it 18 back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
When they changed it to 21?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I mean, it's been 21 for as long as I've been of age to go into a casino. But at one point. Drinking age used to be 18, Chief.
Here?
Everywhere. Yeah, that's a more recent development.
Okay, well, we should keep it that.
Yeah. Was that the clip?
No, there's more. I just had that.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Playing blackjack. I thought I was the hottest thing in the world. And my father said, well, let's go for a walk outside for a little while. We'll take a break. So he took me outside, and we were walking on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. And he said, I want you to see you look at all these big, beautiful hotels? I said, yeah. And he goes, they don't build those because you win. But even with that advantage, Donald Trump had to go bankrupt 3 times.
Oh, Fatty McThunder biscuits. Fatty McThunder biscuits. But before I delve in, and we're going with my preferred song here.
Yeah.
See, this is really hard.
Well, you said 2, and the YouTube chat said 2, so I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, but I love the rhythm of the other song too.
We can switch it up both times.
Because we can go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
To answer your question, by the way, Dan, before I get into why this latest Chris Christie attack on the Trumpster is so patently ridiculous, 1983, that's when then Governor Kane signed a bill to raise the age for gaming in New Jersey from 18 to 21. So, there you go. There's the answer to your question.
Didn't know that.
Been since the 80s.
Haven't been in a casino since I was little. Used
Yeah.
the bathroom.
How was it?
It was fine.
Okay.
I mean, ever since I turned 21, I haven't been in a casino.
All right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, we can
Chris
even really.
Christie is fat.
We can even spice it. Oh, there he is talking.
So, well, can we do that? Can we splice Chris Christie quotes into the song? Is that a possibility?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta.
Okay. We don't have to do that right now. Again, it's just.
Yeah.
We said at the beginning of the show that we like to let people into the creative process. Here it is. This is how the sausage gets made on 1210 WPHT. How a classic is born. But in any event, why is Chris Christie's latest attack on Donald Trump and his rough luck, his bad gambles in Atlantic City so patently ridiculous? Because Chris Christie made one of the worst gambles in the history of Atlantic City. It blew up in his face, and it became an issue during Christie's failed 2016 run for president. Let's hop in a time machine here. We don't have to go back to the 1980s. Let's go back to September 2014. This is the Washington Post's Paul Kane. Underneath the gleaming new tower on the north end of the boardwalk, Governor Chris Christie placed a bet that his down-on-its-luck city was about to turn around. Revel, a massive $2.4 billion casino, willed to completion by Christie, was supposed to provide 5,000 permanent jobs and fuel a revitalization to the entire city. The completion of Revel in its opening is a turning point for Atlantic City and a clear sign that people have once again have found faith in this city's ability to come back, Christie said before the 2012 grand opening, which featured a performance by none other than Beyonce. 2 years later, the Revel is shuttered, wiping out thousands of jobs amid an economic implosion of the gambling industry here. Rather than serve as a shining example of Christie's economic stewardship, Revel now stands as a 57-story example of failure in a city that has bedeviled New Jersey governors for a decade. What this article goes on to discuss and what you need to know is that Chris Christie didn't just boost the Revel. Chris Christie attempted to bail out the Revel with a lot of money. How much money? $300 million. Million with an M. Okay? The state agency, this is from the Courier Post, the state agency that oversees the multi-billion-dollar employee pension funds voted last year, and this article is also from 2014, to invest $300 million with Chatham Asset Management, the hedge fund that owns 28% in the troubled casino property. So Chris Christie hailed this investment of public funds as a game changer. Instead, he wasted an inordinate amount of public money on something that ended up being one of the, if not the, greatest property collapses in all of the history of the Boardwalk Empire. So where does he get off criticizing Donald Trump for anything that has ever happened in Atlantic City? Only someone as shameless as our boy Fatty McThunderbiscuits could attempt that. And that really is Chris Christie in a nutshell. He couldn't fit in a nutshell. We need to think of something that has a larger shell. Maybe like a dinosaur egg or something like that. Yeah, see, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. Because just kind of imagine him walking on the Atlantic City boardwalk, eating an ice cream cone with maybe about 12 scoops on it. Boom, 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 boom. Orange man bad.
Oh, here we go. Here, we can do this.
Yeah, see, mix this up here.
We can do this.
Okay.
Because, he had businesses in New Jersey when I was governor. He had casinos in Atlantic City, and they went bankrupt 3 times. Now, let me ask you something. How stupid do you have to be to lose money in a casino?
I don't know, Chris. Why don't you tell us? Because you did.
You can hear him do the fat person breathe too.
You can. He sounds like a normal person after walking up several flights of stairs. That's Chris Christie coming back from the fridge. How does someone lose money in a casino? You tell us, Governor, because you did. He's the master of projection. Chris Christie wants you to believe that Donald Trump failed at cleaning up the swamp. Is that true? Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for that. Donald Trump trusted a lot of the wrong people the first time around back in 2017 when he took office. Some of the people that he trusted that he shouldn't have include Chris Christie, who Chris Christie, of course, recommended Christopher Wray to lead the FBI, something that Donald Trump quite clearly and quite vocally later regretted with very good reason. But Chris Christie has no business telling anyone that they have done an insufficient job of cleaning up the swamp because Christie is the swamp. He is, I'll use something you can understand, Daniel, because you're a big Batman fan. He's Harvey Dent from Batman. He was the White Knight, the U.S. attorney that was supposed to flip Trenton upside down, clean up the corruption, make New Jersey a shining city on the hill with the benefit of beaches.
Are we talking Harvey Dent before or after the gasoline?
Well, what we're saying is that, like Harvey Dent, Chris Christie was presenting himself as a White Knight, corruption-busting crusader.
Oh,
but then ultimately ended up being Two-Faced.
Yeah, that's right, because Harvey Dent then took the responsibility of being Batman, and then the Joker's like, hey, you're going to be in gasoline, and his face got on fire.
Yeah, I mean, put the whole gasoline part aside, right?
That's a great scene.
Oh, it's a great scene, yeah. But I'm focusing on the...
Rachel! Rachel! Harvey, it's okay. It's okay, Harvey. Rachel!
Bum, 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 bum. But Christie is the swamp. That's the point. And everything that he says is projection because chances are if Chris Christie's accusing Donald Trump of doing something or being something, Chris Christie did it or is that. He says that Donald Trump didn't clean up the swamp. Well, Christie is the swamp. He says that Donald Trump failed in Atlantic City. Christie placed the worst bet in the history of Atlantic City, and it's New Jersey taxpayers that ultimately ended up holding the bag. So... no secret here on the Matt Rooney Show that we are determined to make sure everyone knows the truth about the man that I call Fatty McThunderbiscuits and how many of you do as well. I've even got Nick Cale saying it in the morning. He likes to fuse it, though. Nick's like saying sloppy McThunderbiscuits. He combines it with what Trump likes to call Chris Christie. Sloppy Chris Christie. Yeah, there you go. So I encourage you to be creative, to be inventive, and add whatever you'd like to Thunder Biscuits. McThunder Biscuits. And, of course, the reason why we call him Fatty McThunder Biscuits because A, he's fatty, and B, he's thunderous and presumably likes to eat biscuits.
He likes McDonald's biscuits. That's what he likes.
Yeah, he does.
Get way off the
He does.
McDonald's biscuits.
But I'll leave you with this for this second, too, because I know somebody already tweeted it to me tonight. Most people think it's funny. But a few people have said, oh, Matt, come on. Why are you making fun of the man's weight? Why are you going there? Look, here's something that I learned a long time ago, even before I was involved in this whole commenting on and writing about politics thing. From being in the schoolyard and dealing with bullies, you don't beat bullies. You don't deal with bullies. You don't stand up to bullies by playing by the rules that they want you to. Chris Christie makes everything personal. Chris Christie has no concern for your average person. He doesn't quite like normal people. He only sees people for the utility that they hold for him. So the way you deal with a bully is you give it right back to the bully.
Beat him up.
Well, no, I'm not going to do that, Daniel.
Beat him up.
No, listen, you
Give
don't.
me back my biscuit.
You.
Give me back my lunch money. That's my pizza.
Boom, 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 boom.
I was just on the phone with someone. He just said that tuba thing's from Family Guy.
What's from Family Guy?
The tuba thing.
The tuba thing.
Yeah, the tuba song that you're singing. Boom, boom, boom.
Is that from Family Guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One of our callers pointed that out.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. But yes, that's why I make fun of Chris Christie, because that's how you deal with bullies. You don't play by their rules. You give it right back to them. And trust me, it drives him nuts that people are now using the hashtag Fatty McThunderBiscuit. So if you want to drive Chris Christie nuts, you're welcome. 855-839-1210. What's that, Daniel?
Tell him to call in.
Tell him to. He won't. I've been over this before. He texted me a few years ago when I criticized his stewardship of the New Jersey Republican Party in an article. And I offered at the time to let him have an interview. I said, listen, I'd be happy to sit down with you, talk to you, allow you to have your chance to say your piece and tell everyone why I'm wrong. And he declined.
He won't. He would have to call in because he's not going to be able to fit in between the window and the seats.
That's a fair concern. They're doing a lot of construction outside, though. There's some heavy equipment.
He wouldn't be able to sit on these seats. He wouldn't be able to get in.
We can talk to Greg Stocker and get something reinforced by steel, perhaps. A special chair.
He's going to have to stand.
I don't know if that.
Or he's going to have to take your spot in the host and give him that because that's the biggest space in that room.
Put him in like a bath, like a bucket bathtub.
We can give him Dawn's studio.
Well, how's that solve the problem?
It's he has a bigger room.
He weighs like 50,000 times than Dawn does. Dawn's seat's not going to be able to.
Right, but that whole studio he could probably fit in, not these little tiny seats here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to some. We'll talk to the
corporate chill.
Yeah, we'll talk to some engineers.
Yeah.
And see what we can work out
here
on the Matt Rooney Show. Again, 855-839-1210 is the number. Quick break, and then back with more on election 2024 and a lot of other topics here on 1210 WPHT.
Before the opening bell on Monday, contact David Bazar, Karen Bazar, or Brett Elam of Thrive Financial Services, 215-798-9088. Get on the original Roadmap to Retirement and get yourself educated about the tax benefits of a Roth IRA. It's your Roadmap to Retirement, and it starts by getting educated from advocates who will help you navigate your own Roadmap to Retirement. Leave a message at 215-798-9088.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get ready for a merry surprise because Rescue Natural Supplements is throwing their annual Christmas in July sale. That's right. The holiday season is making a summer comeback, and they're bringing the gift of huge savings. That means all health supplements will be slashed up to 50, 60, even 70% off site-wide. We're talking about savings on heart-healthy omega-3s, pain-relieving anti-inflammatories, natural immunity boosters, and much more to order. Call 800-26-ALIVE. 800-262-5483. Speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. Again, don't miss Rescue's Christmas in July sale. Get savings up to 70% off all natural solutions for your highs and lows, from high blood pressure or cholesterol to low energy or testosterone. Rescue's got you covered. Hurry on over and unwrap the joy of a healthier you.
Don't miss The Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Hi, my name is PJ Vogt. I host the podcast Search Engine, where every week I hunt down the answers to the questions I can't get out of my head. Like, why are drug dealers poisoning their customers with fentanyl? Or, is my local sushi restaurant a part of an international scam? Or, how sad are the monkeys at the zoo? If you, like me, find this world bewildering, but also sometimes enjoy being bewildered by it, check out the show on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen.
Hitting the pool or just lounging around? Take us with you. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Speaking of shameless, producer Daniel, probably my favorite story of the week, unsurprisingly, doesn't have anything to do with Donald Trump or Chris Christie, although we do need to talk about Donald Trump's eerie appearance. He was actually in the Keystone State over the weekend. Let's take a trip down I-95 to South Carolina. Nancy Mace. Some of you that follow national Republican politics probably know the name. Relatively young congresswoman from down that way. She's got to be in her 30s. She can't be much older than that. I could be off. But Nancy Mace made headlines this week, not for an opinion she espoused about Donald Trump or some hot-button issue that's currently circulating underneath her. Is she 45?
45.
Oh, all right. There you go. Always guess younger when you're talking about a woman.
Yeah, she's 45. She was born in 77.
Okay. All right. There you go. Well, you could say then perhaps old enough to know better. She made headlines because she appeared at a prayer breakfast. You know, politicians go to these prayer breakfasts where they get together with other politicians and grassroots types and members of the clergy, and some prayers are said, but it's primarily a political event. Well, Nancy Mace, in case you missed it, decided to endear herself to the audience by offering a TMI explanation for what she had to do, or perhaps, Daniel, not do, to make sure that she was not late. Enjoy.
But want to thank you for pulling this together. Another year, another standing room only event. And when I woke up this morning at 7, I was getting picked up at 7:45. Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast, and I got to be on time, and a little TMI. But he can wait. I'll see him later tonight. But I was here early today for you, Tim, and I think everybody was here early for you today.
Oh, no, baby. She had like the southern accent there too.
I'll be home tonight with some hush puppies. That's my favorite part of this. So, you know, when you speak quite often in public, right? You're talking a lot. Lots of words are coming out of your mouth, with regular frequency. Occasionally you mangle syllables. Sometimes your mouth gets ahead of your brain. Happens to Joe Biden every time he talks, but that's because he's in an advanced state of mental decline. But even someone whose brain is in perfectly good shape, and I'm assuming that Nancy Mace is in this particular category, you occasionally get ahead of yourself and realize part of the way through what you're saying, maybe this is something I should have kept to myself. I wonder if that's what happened here, where she was trying to be cute. She was trying to endear herself to this crowd, wanted to impress upon them how important she felt this gathering was. And only after she said that she turned down sex from her fiance in order to make it to this event in time did she maybe realize that she shouldn't have said it. But then she doubles down and says, don't worry, he's going to see me tonight. And that's the part that leads one to scratch their head. Because at that point, you think you would have aborted, pulled the ripcord, parachuted out of there, Dan, and just cut your losses.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
You don't think there's anything wrong with what she said?
No, it's not like she went into specifics about what they were going to do.
So if she had talked about what exactly their morning
sexcapades are,
sexcapades, and that would have crossed the line for
but
you.
But if she was like, nah, I'd turn it down just to be here, I was like, okay, cool.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Well, there's a debate going on out there.
There is
about this. Some people are saying, "Hey, what's the big deal? She's a young woman. She has a fiance. She's not a nun. Who cares?" And then you have other people pointing out, and even though your old pal Matt is not prudish, I somewhat empathize with this position. They say, can we get back to a time in our politics where some things are kept on the inside, that everything isn't an attempt at authenticity or being raw for the sake of demonstrating for the audience how real you are, how in touch with the average person you are? Can leaders at least attempt to maybe stay on the pedestal for a little bit? It used to be that it was a story when leaders got knocked off of the pedestal that we put them on. Now they kind of throw themselves off, and it almost feels performative sometimes. And I can't help but wonder, because I'm a very cynical person. I have every reason to be. I'm a New Jersey Republican voter. If I wasn't cynical, it would mean that I wasn't paying attention to what was going on around me in my world. But I wonder, is this something that maybe she did on purpose? Right? The theory I advanced a moment ago is that maybe she just started going, rushed there in the morning, told what she thought was a fun anecdote, and realized only after the fact that it was what it was, and then decided to double down for some bizarre reason. Maybe it was deliberate. Maybe she knew this would go viral on social media.
I just think it was lighthearted fun. I think it was just like a thing where it's like a serious thing. Like not necessarily a serious topic, but just to get laughs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I wonder...
It's something that I would do. Not those words specifically, but it's something I would try and do to like lighten the mood.
We don't talk about Dan Valdez sexy times on here. We don't talk about your sexy times. So it really isn't something you would do.
I don't know. I mean, I don't care for it. I think
you don't care for sharing it. You don't care for sexy times.
Both. I think people are just looking too deep into this.
I don't know.
I don't think if people were offended by it, people would come out and be like, "I'm offended by this," but no one really came out.
I think a lot of us are in the middle though, and I kind of teased this a second ago. It's not so much that I think, "Oh my God, what a horrible person! She's having sex outside of marriage." Throw her out of office. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is I think as time goes on and our politics becomes more and more smash mouth, and it seems like every day there is a new Rubicon that is being crossed, there is perhaps maybe some building desire for, or maybe it's nostalgia if you want to say that, for a time when, our leaders are leaders, someone that you don't see under their fingernails, right? You don't know every little aspect of their lives. They at least make an attempt to be better than the average. And by better, I don't mean superior, right? We don't want people looking down their nose at us. But you can have a leader who isn't egotistical and arrogant and has feelings that they're superior to everyone. And at the same time, they try to hold themselves to the highest standard. I wouldn't think that those things are mutually exclusive. I'd hope that they wouldn't be. But I wonder. But I think, Dan, that's the problem that some people are having with this. It's not that they care that Nancy Mace is having a roll in the hay before she comes in to go to a prayer breakfast.
I mean, hey, if she's having a roll in the hay before a prayer breakfast, good for her, I don't have energy at 7 a.m., but hey, good for her.
It does show an impressive level of energy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you need to be able to do if you're in Congress.
Yeah, I mean, great. And I'm glad, and I hope she went home afterward and was like, all right, let's make up for this lost time, but good for her.
Put on some C-SPAN, listen to some presidential debates, whatever you do to get warmed up when you're in Congress.
Nothing says...
And you're a nerd.
Nothing says kinky and sexy like some C-SPAN. Yeah.
So here's another theory, right? Can we be more conspiratorial here and overthink this a little bit more?
If you want.
Maybe it's a fun contrast to what else we see in Congress, and we get a lot of headline space today up there on Capitol Hill, which are these geriatric, do they even know where they are members of Congress? So maybe Nancy Mace is trying to signal, hey, at a time when most of the oxygen is sucked up by guys like John Fetterman and ladies like Senator Feinstein of California, who, again, it's an open question whether they even know their name sometimes when they stumble into the chamber. Maybe Nancy Mace thinks that her youth and vitality is something that Americans will find appealing.
I think it gives her character.
You think it gives her character?
Yeah. You know,
How does it give her character?
You know, these politicians are just like us. They want to do the dirty at 7 o'clock and then, go to the prayer breakfast. They're not all just about politics.
You just said you don't like to do the dirty at 7 o'clock.
Not me personally, no.
You
but
imagine that someone would want to.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are just like, that Nancy Mace,
Yeah, well, a little sex appeal's always gone a long way in politics, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at AOC. She's getting a lot of attention, especially in the station. It's a big debate with this station.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
What about specifically? Or should I even ask?
If she's attractive or not. Matt DeSantis is a big AOC attractive supporter.
Matt DeSantis likes AOC?
Big time.
I don't know. I just hear the voice. I can't get past that.
It's like this.
Yeah, see, that's the opposite of an aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
For yours truly.
I mean, she holds her boyfriend hostage, so, you know what they say.
But then again, am I asking the wrong guy? Because, again, you see these polls constantly, and they're all over the place about how Gen Z doesn't even really particularly like sex. So if she's trying to appeal to younger audiences, perhaps it's a mistake.
What younger audience is going to a prayer breakfast?
Well, there you go. Right? Religion is not something that Gen Z is into as well.
Gen Z isn't into a lot.
Yeah, what do you guys like?
Couldn't tell you.
You let me know when you figure it out?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
All right.
So I don't know.
Okay. Well, when you do know, I'd like a full report here on the Matt Rooney Show.
Sure.
If you would do us the honor.
Sure.
855-839-1210 is the number over on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
See, now we have Navy Prepper in the chat saying, at Bell, you have your orders. Convince him that morning is great. No. No.
Look, part of the reason why I was reluctant to even talk about this, I felt like I have to because it's so funny, right? And I think it does implicate some more serious things. But inevitably, it means that we're talking about sex. And the idea of Dan and sex is just...
I'm a virgin. What's that?
Are you saving yourself for that band Ghost you're going to see?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's just...
What are we talking about? What is this?
That's just sweet.
What's sex?
Yeah. You got one of those promise rings, right?
No, there's
nothing. He's only got tattoos, folks. No jewelry.
Thinking of getting another one.
Another tattoo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
I want your signature. Is what I want a tattoo.
Yeah. Well, I thought we agreed on this that I was going to give you my signature, right on the lower back. You're gonna have a 1210WPHT.
I just want to write on the butt.
Tattoo, and then
right on the butt.
On the cheek?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want my signature on your cheek.
Why?
I don't know. For some reason, like that makes it so much worse. I don't know. Maybe it's just the proximity to the equator. Don't want to think too much about it, especially during our break, because we need our break to refresh our coffee mugs, make sure we are comfy and cozy wherever we're listening to the Matt Rooney Show. And when we return, let's dig into what Dan really hates, which is some of the latest poll numbers out of election 2024, and a little from the Donald's appearance in Pennsylvania over the weekend here on 1210 WPHT.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. My father and grandfather taught me three things: be honest, provide great service, and give back to the community. and you will continue to be in business for 3 more generations. You have a choice as to who services your heating and air conditioning. At Marvin Cans, you'll get great service and honest pricing, but also a company that gives back, like installing a free train furnace for a disabled Afghan war veteran. If this sounds like your type of HVAC company, then visit us at marvinycans.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here to talk about my friends at Family and Company Jewelers in Marlton, New Jersey. You've heard me talking about them nonstop, but now is the time to pay them a visit. Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey. If you're shopping for the perfect engagement ring, look no further. They have the top 5-star rating on Google with over 2,000 reviews. No one else comes close to that. Get the right ring. A ring from Family and Company Jewelers. Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's diamond destination.
Calling on Atco, New Jersey to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now. Download it now.
Matt Rooney on the Matt Rooney Show. Having a heck of a time here with you on Sunday evening. I hope you're having a fraction as much fun as yours truly is. Talking about things both momentous and, if not momentous, at least I hope interesting and a little bit humorous. Because variety is the spice of life, and it's no less true than here on 1210 WPHT. On the weekends where we try to keep it light, keep it lively. Dan announced last segment that he's thinking about getting another tattoo, so maybe that should have been the poll for the evening. Where Dan should get my signature on his body. I encourage you all to be creative.
Not your signature, by the way. I lied.
You're not going to put my signature on your body?
No, I lied.
Oh, you mean that was a bit? That was a joke?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Oh, wow, I didn't pick up on that.
You joke. It was a joke. I
What,
got him.
what are you going to get? The Batmobile?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
also a joke.
No, that's not. That's not a joke.
That is a joke.
You were that lame.
Yeah. Are you actually curious or like?
Yeah, of course I'm curious.
The past concert that I went to, I'm gonna get a concert ticket on my left forearm with all like the details and the band name and stuff like that.
That's more lame than my signature.
It's great. It's a great memory.
But what if you go to a better concert and you'd rather have that ticket?
No, I get the concerts. I get a tattoo of a concert for the people I really wanted to see. So I have a Deadmau5 one because I really want to see him, and I've been a fan of him since elementary school. I've wanted to go to the Past band for a while, and I'm a big all-time favorite band. So that's the reason why I'm getting it. I don't have plans on getting any more tattoos besides this last. I don't even know when I'm going to get this one. This was just an idea that I had in my head.
It's fascinating to me. I can't imagine being that attached to a band or anything related to entertainment.
It's not the band. It's the fact that I went and saw them. I mean, pictures are fine, but
so for you, it's the event, it's the activity, it's the experience.
All my tattoos have some kind of meaning, and I like meaningful tattoos. And I always get, or not always, but I get a tattoo.
Like that time you watched Batman.
Well, that's a different story. And
you said they all have a story. Yeah. What's the story behind Batman?
I just like Batman.
I know you're not Batman.
I just like Batman.
Yeah, you just like Batman.
Yeah, so I was gonna get that, but I want to remember it. So I'll take my concert ticket and I'll put it on my arm.
Okay. Well, we're learning once again more about you than we probably wanted to. But Dan, why don't you teach us something about the wider world? I think it's time for Dan's weekly fact.
Yeah, our fact today comes all the way from overseas.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't.
You're gonna have to get a visa to go to Europe soon. Did you see that?
Yeah. You a big fan of peanuts?
I mean, they're okay. Yeah.
Big nuts guy, huh?
I like honey roasted.
You like honey roasted nuts?
Yeah, honey roasted nuts.
Don't tell Nate Smace that one.
Boom, 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 boom. Every time we talk
Peanuts.
about food, I think of Chris Christie now and that song. Yeah.
Peanuts aren't technically nuts. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Explain.
They're legumes. Lugumes. Legumes?
Okay.
Legumes. According to Merriam-Webster, a nut is only a nut if it's a hard, shelled, dry fruit or seed with a separable rind or shell and interior kernel. That means walnuts, cashews, almonds, and pistachios aren't nuts either. They're seeds.
Okay. So in one basket you've got almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts, and then the other you're going to include peanuts with I guess like soybeans, lentils.
Well, no, it's saying yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very interesting. The more you know.
There you go.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Good. Good on you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Little pat on the head.
Navy Prepper on YouTube says, at Dan and Bell, you're in your 20s. Have fun and adventure.
Is he talking about the tattoo, or is he talking about the sexy times at 7 a.m.?
Yes. Yes.
See, I would imagine that Chris Christie, Fatty McThunder Biscuits, not much is happening at 7 a.m. in bed. He's probably getting up and maybe like eating a pizza at 7 a.m. That's probably his idea of morning activity.
That's got to be. Yeah. I mean, what else would he do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Eat like a bucket of pasta from the night before or something like that.
Probably.
Mm.
A bucket of pasta?
I don't know. I just tried to think of something that was excessive and disgusting. And I love pasta, but like cold pasta at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Do you think he's ever been to the Heart Attack Grill?
What's the Heart Attack Grill?
You've never. Oh my gosh, you've never heard of the Heart Attack Grill?
No.
It's basically just it's a burger joint, but they dress you in hospital gowns because everything there is so greasy. It has the potential of giving you a heart attack. And if you don't finish your food, you get spanked.
You actually get spanked?
Yes.
Did you get spanked?
I've never been there. But
you're just familiar with the concept.
I just know of it, yeah.
Oh, God.
It's called the Heart Attack Grill because everything's so high in calories and so greasy and fatty.
Oh, this is in Vegas.
Yes.
I've heard of this. Yes, I have. Okay. All right. I forgot that's what it was called.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Boom, 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 boom. I just can't get it out of my head. I really can't. 855-839-1210 is the number. I promised I would talk about 2024 beyond Chris Christie and his sparring with Donald Trump, which, at least to some degree, is a sideshow in this larger contest that Donald Trump is clearly well out ahead in. I do not think, and I said this last week, and with every passing week, I think I can say it with more certainty. I think it's going to be awfully hard for someone to catch Donald Trump at this point. And just think about it. You don't have to be Lee Atwater.
There's one person that can do it.
Who? Ramaswamy. I don't think Ramaswamy can catch him at this point. I think Ramaswamy might be making a decent case to be vice president or in the cabinet.
You rather want Ramaswamy or
mustard?
Take your pick.
Yeah, see, that's the mustard comment says it all, though.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Sloppy Chris Christie. Sloppy Chris Christie will not be appearing in a Trump administration. Weird things happen in politics all the time. I think that one may be a tad bit of a stretch. But Donald Trump far, far out ahead, right? Not much can happen at this point. I started to say this a second ago. If you are looking for a major game-changing event that can alter a dynamic where one candidate consistently leads by 20 or 30 points, the latest RCP average, by the way, nationally, Trump is at 52.4%. The next up behind him is DeSantis at 18.4%. Think about that for a second. And, when you look at the state-based polls, it's not too much better. New Hampshire, Trump's support is significantly softer at 41.7%, but not really when you consider it's a multi-candidate race. DeSantis still in second place there on average with 17% support. Donald Trump this week just had additional charges added to the case in Florida, the federal case brought by Jack Smith. Donald Trump, of course, being accused of mishandling classified documents. The latest revelation concerns an alleged attempt to get rid of surveillance footage. Did it happen? Didn't it happen? Does it really matter? And I know some of our leftist listeners, you are out there, you need to admit it, even though you don't like to, that you listen to the program. There's no shame, although you, I'm sure, feel that there is, which is why you don't want to talk about it, but it is what it is. It doesn't really matter for two reasons. First of all, let's say that the evidence points towards Donald Trump being guilty of the charges. And you can make a point, and I know this might anger some on the other side, you hardcore Trumpies out there. There's a lot of evidence, at least in that one particular case. The New York case is junk. I'm not that pressed by anything being discussed in Georgia, even though we have to wait and see what exactly comes out of Georgia. Most of the charges being brought against Donald Trump are nonsense. You have to admit there's a compelling body of evidence for this mishandling of documents case. How it's going to shake out, I don't know. Does Donald Trump have some defenses? Maybe. But we have to be honest if we want to properly analyze the possibilities. But Hillary Clinton did the same thing. It's been said by me, it's been said by plenty of others, but it needs to be repeated one more time. How can you threaten someone with life in prison for something that another individual, similarly situated, a major political figure just in a different party, that's the really, truly only distinguishing factor here, right? They did the same thing, but they're not being charged. They are not being subjected to criminal prosecution. They are not facing the deprivation of their liberty for the rest of their natural life. If you don't think that at least has the potential to play in the outcome of this case, with some jury nullification drama or something like that, you got to be kidding me. And also remember, this is a criminal prosecution, so these things need to be unanimous, right? It doesn't take too many jurors for this thing to go off the rail for the government and for Jack Smith in particular. And you got to think there's a decent chance with a Florida jury, at least someone on there is going to be uncomfortable with one of the clearest examples of this two-tiered system of justice that's developing in this country as you could find anywhere at any time. So that's part of what you need to consider when it comes to these charges and why maybe it's hard to care about them. But then there's this other element that I referenced a moment ago, the polls. Everyone who is predicting Donald Trump's political doom and the impact it's going to have on the polling, which would portend his doom, continues to be disappointed. The more charges this guy gets, the more it solidifies his position as the Republican frontrunner in this race. And why is that? I just told you a moment ago. Because a significant portion of Americans and an overwhelming percentage of the Republican base, myself included, recognize that Donald Trump is being treated, and you can imagine him saying this in the Trump voice, right? Very unfairly. He's being treated very unfairly. They're being very unfair.
I love
Trump.
New Jersey.
He loves New Jersey.
How does that sound?
And a large percentage of those individuals that know that he's being treated unfairly are prepared to go and vote for him. Maybe because they liked him already. Maybe they were planning to vote for him already. But some, and I know them in my own life, and you do too, who believe that voting for Donald Trump is now about more than voting for Donald Trump. It's repudiating this weaponization of our justice system. So the more charges the government hits him with, the more these indictments continue to come out of left field in the coming weeks and months, right? Wherever they decide to bring them. There's Georgia charges that are on the table. There's even talk about maybe Jack Smith trying to open up a new legal battlefront in New Jersey, right? Because some of this stuff happened allegedly at Bedminster up in north central Jersey, right? It's only going to make Trump stronger. And it doesn't even, and this is the problem for Ron DeSantis, producer Dan, it doesn't even seem to be helping the electability argument, right, for Trump opponents and people who would like to see someone else nominated. One of the arguments for Ron DeSantis was that he was a stronger bet for Republicans against Joe Biden head-to-head in November 2024. Yes, you may feel bad for Trump, think he's being treated unfairly, enjoyed the balance of his policies from his first term, but don't you want to win? Well, if you look at the current state of the RCP average, DeSantis doesn't perform much better, if at all, in a head-to-head with Joe Biden. In fact, right now I'm looking at the general election matchups. Biden v. Trump, Biden only leads by 0.9%. That's less than a full point for those of you that learn math from the teachers union. Biden DeSantis, Biden's up 1.9%, nearly 2 points. That was the best argument for DeSantis, at least aside from the substance, right? When we're talking about these electoral factors. So, look, I mean, I don't want to say who cares in the sense that obviously I want Donald Trump to succeed in his defense against these federal charges, either because he's innocent, which I think is the case in most of these prosecutions, but particularly when we're talking about this document case in Florida, because we shouldn't have a system where whether you get prosecuted turns on whether there's a D or R at the end of your name, right? So I care in that sense, but I say who cares because it's not really affecting the political calculus. Donald Trump is not being impacted either in the primary or the general election by these attempts by the deep state to take him down. What can possibly impact his numbers at this point? Dan, maybe you have some ideas. I don't. I think if you're someone that likes Donald Trump and or you think it's important that Donald Trump win to repudiate everything that's happening in our country right now, there's not much that can move you at this juncture. Or at least if there is, I can't think of it, and I'm a fairly creative guy. So we'll see. Ramaswamy and Chris Christie.
Ramaswamy. Sloppy Chris Christie.
And Nikki Haley and everyone else that's fighting for second and third place, they're auditioning for cabinet posts at this point. And I think they know that. Mike Pence, think about this. The former vice president of the United States may not even qualify for the debate stage.
The guy sucks.
Oh, it's you would think it'd be embarrassing at this point. And he would tuck his tail and take off and, I don't know, do whatever it is you do when you're a former vice president. I don't know if he's a lawyer or not, Mike Pence. Some of them practice law, right? I don't know what his real-world skills are before he became the governor out there in Indiana. Maybe he has some. But Donald Trump, DeSantis, Ramaswamy, Haley, Tim Scott,
Ramaswamy,
and Fatty McThunderbiscuits.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
They're the only ones that have a ticket to the dance right now. Mike Pence, not
Mustard.
There. Asa Hutchinson.
Who?
Right. Not even close, especially after that encounter with Tucker Carlson out in Iowa. Ooh, that was ugly. So, look, I say this as someone that voted for Donald Trump twice, ladies and gentlemen, in the general election. I hoped for a primary here, not for any type of anti-Trump reason. I'm a free market guy. I'm a conservative for a reason. I think that competition is good. And I think that competition makes the ultimate victor better more often than not. This is what we went through with Ed the Trucker, Dan, when we tried to have a debate here on the show back during the spring primary season for New Jersey.
Door's still open for that debate, Ed.
Even though you won the primary, we'll still have it.
Yeah, we'll still have it.
We'll still have it. Why not? But look, I thought it would have been healthy for the party. I think it probably would have been good for Donald Trump as he heads into the general election. But you have to wonder at this point what we're doing here, because this is one of the most solid primary leads at this point in the game, I think, that we've ever seen in contemporary political history. At least nobody's been out this far in front and ever lost a Republican primary since we've been tabulating things. So, to be determined. 855-839-1210 is the number. Again, over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hour number 2 has flown by because that's what happens when you're having fun. The hands on the clock spin rapidly, but don't worry. We still have a full hour left here on the program. We've got plenty more ground to cover. We will talk about Hunter Biden, both the latest criminal scrutiny that crazy plea deal collapse, his love child that Donald Trump, that Joe Biden is finally acknowledging. We're going to get to all that. We will also, of course, do Twit Talk with producer Dan, despite my better judgment, here on 1210 WPHT. Back in just a moment.
Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill. The energy bill, that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12-month same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. This summer, try some eco-friendly water sports like paddleboarding, swimming, or diving. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Kale and Company mornings. Rich Cioli afternoons. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Through benediction, you try to rid your mind of malediction. But through all this time, you try to peel it off, and it's such a ride. Your desolation led you into this vile incarnation of consummated bliss. I know you need it now to make you feel alive.
Welcome back to our numero trace of the Matt Rooney Show here on 1210 WPHT. Our third and final hour this evening. I know it's sad, but what are you going to do? They give us 3 hours. We plow through them. We fit more information into 3 hours than the CDC recommends as being safe, but we do it anyway. Maskless and proud. Here on the home of the First Amendment in the Delaware Valley and beyond, wherever you are listening, whether it be over on the Odyssey app, whether you're using your radio the good old-fashioned way, or whether you're over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT, where you can confirm that I am as handsome as my voice would suggest. And I'm joined, of course, this evening, as I always am, by the one, the only producer, Dan. How you doing tonight, bub?
Hey.
You almost made it through. You're almost home.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch.
You're in the home stretch.
Home stretch.
Yeah. Got Twit Talk ready for later this hour?
Yeah, then I got to come right back here tomorrow morning.
Then you got to be right back here. That's always the challenge for you on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
That you have to wake up at God knows what hour to be here for the Kale and Company program, 6 to 10 a.m. And, you know, fun note for any of you weekday listeners of 1210. You know that I occasionally fill in during the week for hosts when they're not able to be here for whatever reason. I will be on the morning show this Tuesday. So that would be what, August 1st, right? Oh,
Yeah.
my God, it's August already. I'll be filling in for Dawn. So the morning show is going to be decidedly more ugly on Tuesday.
It's going to be a bunch of dude sweat.
It's going to be so dudeish. The only good thing I think about it is, unlike the last time I filled in, and it was like a locker room in the producer studio where you're sitting right now, I think I will be in Dawn's studio.
Yeah.
So we'll be a little bit more spread out.
Yeah.
I'll be looking at the back of Stocker's head, and I'll be looking directly at Nick Cale. I think that's going to be the setup.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's always fun whenever I fill in on the morning show, and I doubt Tuesday will be much of an exception. Because if this coming week is anything like the past week, we are not going to struggle for things to talk about. But before we get into anything more serious, notably the latest developments on the Hunter Biden front, Kamala Harris, everyone's favorite moron, visited the NAACP. Why are you scoffing when I say everyone's favorite moron?
Could have put it in nicer terms.
I could have, but I can't because, look, Kamala Harris, I'm gonna break some people's hearts, I guess, by saying this, is a profoundly stupid person. She's dumb, right? Now, I am not someone that believes that everyone who disagrees with me is stupid. Maybe that means that they haven't thought it through, right? Maybe it means that they're ignorant, meaning that they have the capacity given to them by God to get to the right answer, but they maybe don't have enough information. They haven't spent enough time thinking about it or learning about it to arrive at the correct conclusion, right? But it doesn't mean that everybody who isn't in agreement with Matt Rooney suffers from some kind of mental deficit. I would never suggest that. In Kamala Harris's case, she is clearly operating not on full power upstairs. There are lights on, but no one is home. However you want to put it. And I think she's gotten quite far in life for a host of reasons we've talked about in this program before, but she's where she is now. Ever since that fateful moment when she said, and I think Dan does it better than I do, "You did it, Joe. You did it. You're the president of the United States."
You did it, Joe. You're the president of the United States.
Yours is breathier. That's why it's better.
Yeah, hers is. I think she just got done like a jog or something. Whatever she was, she was in like some kind of tracksuit.
She's walking around in a field in that video.
Yeah,
I don't know if there was actual exercise happening.
Might have been a park or something. Like, you did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States.
I love Venn diagrams. So she was out at the NAACP convention. I guess it was their opening ceremonies, whatever. I don't know if it's the Olympics, if there's a torch lighting or whatever the heck happens. But she was over at the NAACP's opening event for their latest conference. And, it's almost like she said to herself before she walked out on stage, I need to give Matt Rooney some material for his show this weekend. And just proceeded to spew forth some of the dumbest, most ridiculous audio clips that a host like myself could possibly hope for. I almost want to send her a thank you card. Let's just open it off with a word salad from Kamala, which, well, you'll see.
And we know every day we must be vigilant in protecting that which we have achieved and keeping our eyes on our vision, our collective vision, of how we can continue to strengthen our nation.
What does that even mean? I couldn't tell you. Couldn't attempt to tell you. It's Kamala Harris. She's got more to say, though, on a few different topics, including frogs. Check this out.
Many people know that story about the 2 pots of water and the 2 frogs. So here's how it goes. 2 pots of water. In one pot, you drop the frog in it, and you start to slowly turn up the heat. And that frog will start getting used to the heat as it goes up, and eventually the pot of water will start boiling, and that frog will perish. In the other pot, You first turn up the heat so the water is boiling. You drop that frog in it. That frog is going to jump right out. Let's not be that first frog.
I don't think I've ever heard that story. That is the first time I'm ever hearing about frogs dying from boiling water.
And why do we want to not jump out of the pot? Wouldn't you want out of the pot if it's boiling?
Yeah.
Maybe it's global boiling. Is that what she's talking about? Yeah. Only Kamala Harris knows. Actually, I don't think Kamala Harris knows. Only Lord Almighty knows.
I think that's her trying to be funny, you know? There's a difference. Nancy Mace is saying, oh, I turned down the sex. Kamala Harris is like, all these frogs are going to die. There's a difference.
Do you think Kamala Harris is drawing Venn diagrams at 7 a.m.?
Probably.
Before she goes to prayer breakfast?
Probably. She's like, now do I tell the story about the frogs? Do I say what has been unburdened by what has been? Or do I tell him that Doug doesn't pleasure me?
I don't think that Doug guy knows how to pleasure himself. I mean, come on. You know,
Doug is the girliest first man second man that I've ever seen.
I know. Many of you look at me as a leading feminist, so you're going to be disappointed to hear this. But I mean, I don't know. Masculinity went back several generations, thanks to that guy. Oh, he took us back.
Hey, he's revolutionizing us, all right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Oh God, what else did she have to say? Oh yeah, I'm telling you, there's a bounty of clips from Kamala Harris's appearance at the NAACP conference. Here she is on DEI. Listen.
You look at what's happening with these so-called leaders who are trying to say that diversity and equity and inclusion is somehow a bad thing. Let us not let them get away with that. They're trying to get rid of DEI programs so that corporations will stop paying attention to who they're hiring and promoting. Will stop paying attention to who gets accepted to schools, thinking about the issue of equity.
I mean, I can understand why she's worked up about this because, again, I'm going to trigger some people here. Kamala Harris only exists because of the left's obsession with the superficialities of human nature, right? The Biden administration looked at the Democrat field in 2020 and thought that a non-white woman would let me try this again. I had a Fetterman moment
Harris.
For a second. I know. Well, I was going to say that's more Fetterman-esque. It would complement their electoral strategy, right? It's not because of the fact that Kamala Harris is a towering intellect. She wasn't a legislative champion in the United States Senate. She wasn't someone that's written great tomes on our system or some of the weighty issues of our day. She's a moron. Now, of course, when we've had, and there are plenty of them, extremely qualified mental giants who happen to not be white in American government, people that are objectively intelligent, well beyond the mean of their peers. Condoleezza Rice is one, regardless of how you feel about Iraq. Dr. Benjamin Carson, right? Dr. Ben Carson. I mean, there's a guy that would separate twins, right? I think he was the first one to do that, correct? Pediatric brain surgeon. Genius. They were degraded by the left. They were treated like garbage. Why? Because those superficialities only matter to the left when it serves their narrative. So I understand why Kamala is annoyed about the pushback against DEI, because it's a pushback against the very world that Kamala Harris wants to create, one where merit doesn't matter, one where a world where the left puts us all in boxes to serve their own purposes. And I don't want to offend you by saying any of this, Dan, as our Latinx representative here on the Matt Rooney Show.
It's too late.
What do you mean it's too late?
It's too late.
No, we greatly appreciate your contributions here as someone that is 1/16 Hispanic.
Eighth.
Is it 1/8?
It's 1/8.
It's not that much better.
Yeah, it's a little better.
Marginally. It's marginally better.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever, bub. Whatever.
I'm offended. I don't know.
Is there
offended.
something I can do to make you feel better?
I don't know. Come in here and give.
I already gave you a job, so what else am I supposed to do?
You didn't give me this job.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Greg Stocker wanted to have you out front parking cars. He was going to make you the valet on the weekends, and I said, absolutely not.
You said you
I
said,
want him in here on the studio.
Nah, you had no idea who I was.
Working the board. I said I want that creepy looking one with the mustache and the Batman tattoo that weighs about 70 pounds. He's my guy.
75.
Okay.
Still 75.
75 pounds, sorry.
I ate taste cake this morning, and I gained a couple pounds.
You probably eat a tasty cake, and it looks like you're pregnant. You're, like, immediately showing.
Dude, I haven't eaten any of these
'Cause
taste
you're that
cakes.
thin.
I had the first one today in, like, months.
Got to eat more tasty cakes.
Nah.
You could stand to. Have a butterscotch crimpet on a daily basis.
Those are good.
You need to do the butter. Oh, they're among my favorite.
Yeah.
Very underrated tasty cake.
They are underrated.
Yes.
So are honey buns. Honey buns are fantastic.
I'm more of a pecan swirl guy.
Of course you are.
What is that supposed
That's
to mean?
enough from you. Move on. We're ending this. I can't believe you just said that.
What do you have against pecan swirls?
That's distasteful. You're eating a seed.
Well, we just learned about that.
We learned about that.
And Dan's fact of the week.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're delicious though. They're like little cinnamon buns.
How dare they?
Okay. All right. Enough of that. Enough of that.
How can anybody turn that down?
It's pecan swirl. How can anyone turn that down?
That's what Nancy Mace's fiance said.
He's like, I'm
So also what Chris Christie says every time he passes a White Castle
How
hamburger.
can anybody turn that down?
One wonders. 855-839-1210 over on YouTube.
And then when Chris Christie sees that they're not open, he says,
It's a bunch of malarkey.
I would imagine he would climb it, scale it like King Kong. That
Or-
last scene where he's hanging on the Empire State Building.
or it's either that's a bunch of malarkey, or he says this. There it is. They're all we're all out of the White Castle burgers. And then they say, hey, what do you want in your burger? And he's like,
mustard.
Mustard, yeah, right.
Yeah, and then he's like, is that all it? And he's like, yeah, that's it. But I'm also,
I think I'll do a wraparound.
Every time he sees one of those Grimace shakes.
I think I'll do a wraparound.
Over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Quick break, then we'll continue with our third and final hour in just a second. Don't move a muscle.
Let Colony Pools and Power Washing bring your home back to life this summer. Call Colony Pools right now at 302-762-2250 and let the experts power wash away the green algae and mold on your roof, your deck, and your siding.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get ready for a merry surprise because Rescue Natural Supplements is throwing their annual Christmas in July sale. That's right. The holiday season is making a summer comeback, and they're bringing the gift of huge savings. That means all health supplements will be slashed up to 50, 60, even 70% off site-wide. We're talking about savings on heart-healthy omega-3s, pain-relieving anti-inflammatories, natural immunity boosters, and much more to order. Call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. Again, don't miss Rescue's Christmas in July sale. Get savings up to 70% off all natural solutions for your highs and lows, from high blood pressure or cholesterol to low energy or testosterone. Rescue's got you covered. Hurry on over and unwrap the joy of a healthier you.
Beach or barbecue. Listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT anywhere. Just download the free Odyssey app. AUDACY.
It's worth noting that a lot of people forget exactly how tight election 2020 was. It's in some ways tighter than election 2016. Here's one from Karl Rove, who I imagine there are some mixed feelings about Karl. in this 1210 WPHT audience, but you can't deny that the guy that George Bush infamously nicknamed Turd Blossom knows how to do math, specifically election math. He has an article over at Fox News explaining that Joe Biden, if he wants to hold on to Georgia, which is critical to Democrats' electoral strategy in 2024, if Joe Biden loses just 1% of black voter turnout, he loses the state. That is not much of a margin of error for the incumbent president this time next year. And that's part of this 2024 analysis, right? We spoke earlier this evening about how Donald Trump is way out in front in the Republican primary. He's actually arguably as or maybe even slightly more competitive against Joe Biden in November 2024 in a head-to-head than Ron DeSantis right now, if you go by the RCP average, which, you know, it's about as accurate as anywhere else based upon how it's performed historically. None of this would be possible but for the fact that Joe Biden's approval rating continues to be circling the drain of the toilet. Joe Biden's current job approval rating over at RCP, the average is around 42%. And we continue to get polls showing it is arguably worse. CBS News, not Fox News, even though their poll tends to skew left. But we're not talking about a conservative outlet or a Republican poll here. CBS News polled 2,100 people, actually almost 2,200 people, between July 26th and July 28th. 40% approve of Joe Biden's job in office. 60% disapprove. Donald Trump can beat Joe Biden in Georgia, regardless of how many indictments he's facing, if that's Joe Biden's approval rating in November 2024. And I recognize what I just said carries a lot of what-ifs, but it's entirely possible. So keep that in mind. And one of the reasons why Joe Biden's approval rating is in the toilet is because of his crack-loving, hooker-using, probably selling out his country overseas son, Hunter Biden, who made quite a bit of news this week on two separate fronts. There has been a long history, Producer Dan, of relatives that have embarrassed presidents while they're in the White House, right? Carter had a brother, Billy Carter, that was a mess. Bill Clinton.
I love Billy Carter.
Had a brother, mess, Roger Clinton, right? Hunter Biden is every embarrassing relative of a president all rolled into one on steroids, or in this case, crack, right? Two stories in a single week. First of all, the collapse of the plea deal, which is one of the most remarkable things, forget as a political observer and commentator, as a lawyer that I have ever witnessed happen in real time. I will distill this down for you if you somehow missed it. Maybe you were on vacation and went radio silent, or if maybe you've been picking up the headlines but didn't really sink your teeth into it. Bottom line is, Hunter Biden's attorneys, probably in collusion with the federal government, because they had to sit down and agree on this thing, right? They crafted a plea deal for him that went beyond those gun and drug charges that were at the heart of what was supposed to be discussed in court when they appeared to put this plea deal through. They crafted an agreement which provided a much broader immunity for Hunter Biden, which would have been interpreted to include potential charges involved to his activities overseas. Should he have been a registered agent, et cetera, and so on, right? You don't need me to tell you about everything that he's being accused of doing overseas. It's all over the place. So that deal collapses unbelievably, creates a massive black eye for the Biden administration. We'll keep this story alive, which is very bad for the incumbent, well through the end of the year, because as of now, unless they come up with something else, Hunter Biden is going to trial. But even if they do come up with something else, if you still trusted the Department of Justice, and shame on you if you still did, can you honestly say that you trust them to be impartial now? It's obvious they're trying to let the president's son off the hook. It's remarkable to me that anyone thinks this process could possibly be fair when the president is the next step up above the DOJ. This is his DOJ. They answer to him. How was anybody going to expect that there was going to be a fair process? Why are we surprised that there's not? But what matters is that there is now the perception, which is also rooted in reality, that there's not a fair process. And Democrats are spinning like a top. They're spinning like tops. They're just deciding to deny or ignore this to the extent they can, at least in some quarters, and just, I suppose, hoping that it goes away. The problem with that is that Joe Biden is now on the record contradicting what we saw transpire in court. Let's go back to cut number 7. This is from the 2020 debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, when Biden explicitly denied that his son has taken money from China.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China?
Well, that's not true. That's not true. Hunter Biden has now admitted in court to a federal judge that he received not just money, right? They didn't buy him a Happy Meal or something like that. He received over $600,000 from a Chinese Communist Party-backed company, directly contradicting his father. That's now been admitted in open court, so it can't be denied. And yet Democrats, as I said, are still going to try to pretend that this is not a real thing, that this isn't really happening, because I suppose, at least to some degree, what choice do they have? Senator Coons, and I think this is a perceptible shift you're going to see in the weeks and months to come. We'll see if I'm correct. I usually am. Not even really doubling down on defending Hunter at this point, saying it's a ridiculous story. Democrats are now shifting their focus on trying to insulate Joe Biden himself, the big guy. Senator Coons, he visited one of the Sunday talk shows and said, you know what? There's not one shred of evidence tying Joe to any of this. Listen.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it would behoove the president for him to come out and say, hey, I had no business dealings with my son. My son's issues are my son's issues. Do you think he needs to say that more directly? Because there's a lot of people that believe something else went happen here.
Well, let's be clear about that point, Chuck. There's been a 5-year investigation, 5 years, by a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney. This investigation started during the Trump administration, and they've come forward with not one shred of evidence tying President Biden to any of this.
Not one shred of evidence. Well, we know that that's also false. And you don't need your old pal Matt. You just need the Google. Go look. There are texts now. There are emails. There are whistleblowers. There is a growing body of hard evidence that Joe Biden's entire shtick, which is years old now, that he didn't know what his son was up to and his son wasn't up to anything nefarious, was a lie. It was an absolute lie. And it started before Joe Biden was even president. Let's go back to the vault one more time. This is going back even further to 2019. This is an off-cited interview, right, with Joe Biden denying that his son Hunter was up to anything nefarious or untoward. This is cut number 5, Daniel.
So you think that everything that happened was kosher?
You know there's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit, to suggest anything done was wrong. You know that, but you keep asking me these questions. It's okay. You're doing what you have to do, but I'm not worried about it. Look, the American public knows me.
They're getting to know you, and they're getting to know your scumbag family, and how. I never thought that we'd find a presidential administration and a first family that makes the Clintons almost look like upstanding citizens, right? The Clintons did an awful lot crooked to enrich themselves. This is more like the mafia, with everybody in the Biden family possibly getting wealthy off their connection to the big guy. That's the picture that's beginning to be painted. Obviously, this will eventually be confirmed or disproved in a court of law, right? But Hunter Biden in particular, not looking too hot right now, and the ties between Hunter's behavior and what Joe Biden actually knew continue to grow stronger, despite what Senator Coons and any army of Democrats you want to summon for the Sunday shows would have you believe. That is a problem for Hunter Biden in the very real sense that his father will now be in the position where he has to decide whether he's going to pardon his own son. That would be a presidential first. They love to talk about Trump's first. That's going to be a heck of a first. But the impact, of course, that all of this is going to exert on 2024. One of the themes of tonight's show, projection. We discussed earlier Chris Christie ribbing Donald Trump over his failures in Atlantic City when Chris Christie's investment in the Revel Casino Hotel was one of the biggest failures, if not the biggest failure, in the history of the Boardwalk Empire. Everything that the left and the Biden administration accuses Donald Trump of, we're learning that they did it. Times 12. The American people are now starting to realize it, which is what's important, which is why that CBS poll has Joe Biden at 40%. He's rapidly approaching the territory in these approval polls where it's only like friends, family, and paid staffers that think you're doing a good job. 855-839-1210 is the number here at the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take a break, make some money, because we're capitalists around here, unlike the commies that apparently donate to Hunter Biden. And we will be back to continue with our final hour in a sec.
Educate yourself on carbon capture and RINs. Listen to the Labor and Energy Show, presented by PBF Energy, Steamfitters Local 420, Local 74, Eastern Region of Carpenters, and the United Steelworkers. Listen to the Labor and Energy Special this Sunday night at 6.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
The latest heat wave is broken, but not before several areas of the tri-state suffer weather-related damage. A homeless advocate in Philadelphia will retire, sort of, next year. And you can soon buy those Eagles jerseys in Kelly Green.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. During summer, be sure to use dishwashers and stoves in the evening to minimize the effects of heat. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
I'm sick of all this. How'd you get your band name? Is that your real first name? Can you text and can you follow back? Cause it's my birthday. No one cares what I want, just what I've got. And if we sit and count it up, it's really not a lot. So when are you gonna sing for me? When are you gonna drink for me? I don't know, I don't know.
Unbelievably, or perhaps believably, because, I don't know, is there much in 2023 that can surprise anyone?
I miss having sex. It's the thing to Nancy Mace.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked over your Nancy Mace homage.
You did.
Play that part again.
It's fine.
No,
Okay,
it's look.
all
You
right.
tried to make a funny.
I did, and you're just talking right over it.
You should have given me a heads up.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, go ahead.
No one cares what I want, just what I've got. And if
We got to build up to it
count
now.
up, it's really not a
We got to build up to it
So
now.
when are you gonna sing for me? When are you gonna drink for me? I don't know, I don't know. So when are you gonna sing for me? Ruining me completely, it's true. I miss having sex, but at least I don't wanna die anymore.
There you go.
Anything that's pretty cool. I miss seeing the red on your
Don't
face.
want to be late to the prayer breakfast. The worst part about it is, too, and I'm going to offend somebody, but I'm going to say it anyway, and I will preface this by saying I am a Christian. I'm Roman Catholic. I'm not making fun of anybody's faith. But she immediately leans into it on Twitter and says, I was saved and this, that, and the other. Look, maybe she was, and that's awesome. Like, just own it, right? Like, just own it. You know, like, don't try to act like you were trying to make some higher point about your faith or this, that, or the other, right? Like, you made an off-color joke, either intentionally or not intentionally. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. I don't know, but everything has to be something in 2023.
So, On Twitter.
On Twitter?
Headmaster543 said, not sure, but man, does Danny V do the female impression way too well.
Yeah, disturbing.
So I was going to go to the prayer breakfast, but my fiance tried dragging me down. I said, no, baby, it's not time for that. It's like, oh, you'll see me later tonight.
But see, that the way you just said it
was sexier.
It doesn't quite capture like well, I guess it depends on what your cup of tea is, right? She said it in like the more like bubbly Southern girl kind of way. Like, don't worry, y'all. I'll be home tonight. I'll be home with the biscuits and gravy.
I said, oh, no, baby. Oh, no, baby. No sex tonight, no baby. That wasn't bad, but that was terrible, actually. But,
yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, my female impressions are more of a valley girl, so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, listen, you got an impressive impressionist range.
Yeah.
Can't win them all, Daniel.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about the Bidens this hour. We covered obvious scumbaggery point one, right? Which is that Hunter Biden is corrupt and the Justice Department is corrupt, and they tried to put together a deal to help him escape potential future prosecution. And thank God for that federal judge who deserves a medal because she smelled a rat, called them out, preserved the people's right to pursue Hunter Biden for what are likely some pretty significant crimes down the road. We'll see how it all develops. But arguably, even though the scope of this is not as significant because, the first family being in bed with like China and foreign powers, obviously that's a very scary thing on multiple levels. But let's take it down to the personal realm here for a second. Joe Biden has a 4-year-old granddaughter, Navy, who he has had no interaction with and has not acknowledged until this week. I've ribbed him about this on the show before because I cannot appreciate how a grandparent that knows the grandchild is theirs, it's been confirmed, right? How they know the grandchild is theirs would not acknowledge them. I get that life is complicated. I'm actually a family law attorney.
Really?
So I get in this.
You're a lawyer?
All right.
I didn't know that. Good for you, man.
Danny, I wanted to do my Nancy Mace voice.
Good.
Step off for a second, sugar biscuits. Oh, there's gonna be no gravy for you after the prayer breakfast. I'm disappointed in myself. You don't have to be disappointed in me.
That's terrible, man.
It's really terrible. It's terrible. I'm disgusted. I'm as disappointed as you are. Again, Dan, you tell me if this may be another one of these things where maybe as a parent I feel it more acutely. Not acknowledge your grandchild. It's just it's the height of scumbaggery. But this week that changed. The Biden administration has now acknowledged the child, kind of, sorta, right? Well, cut number 6. Let's cue it up for everybody.
We have some late-breaking news tonight regarding President Biden's family.
Lester, that's right. For the first time tonight, President Biden is publicly acknowledging his 4-year-old granddaughter, Navy Joan, the child of his son Hunter Biden and an Arkansas woman out of wedlock. Republicans have criticized the president for not acknowledging a 7th grandchild. But in a statement late tonight, President Biden says it is not a political issue. It's a family matter. He adds he and the First Lady want what is best for all of their grandchildren, including Navy.
Well, it is, but it isn't, right? Because, first of all, the family member that we're talking about, Hunter Biden, is a criminal, right? And we can say that, right? Because the guy was about to plead guilty to a bunch of crimes. So even though there's a little bit of a technicality in there that I appreciate as an attorney, let's be honest. The only question at this point is how deep and how far Hunter Biden's criminality goes. So we're not talking about some love child of an obscure Biden family relative that is otherwise not in the news. We're talking about Hunter Biden, someone who's very much a public figure, and a public figure by his own choice, by his own election. Also, call me hokey and old-fashioned here, but character matters. Character is a substantive issue. There's some things that are private. Nancy Mace decided to make her sex life public, but generally speaking, it's not something that necessarily impacts whether somebody's a good leader or not, right? Whether or not they like to have a roll in the hay with their fiance before the prayer breakfast, after the prayer breakfast. I don't know. It's not something I care about. It's not something your average American voter cares about, and probably for good reason. Can you say the same about a president who continues to attempt to portray himself as this compassionate everyman that cares acutely about the working class and your average American, who will not acknowledge one of his own grandchildren and didn't for 4 years? That is a substantive issue. It says something to me about the character of the man that is currently leading our nation, not leading us anywhere good, but is currently leading this nation and wants to lead it for another 4 years, assuming, of course, he has the capacity to do it, which is also in question. And I think it tells you all you need to know that when Joe Biden is confronted on this point, he doesn't respond with charity or compassion or, he isn't contrite in any way for what's transpired, right? He's nasty. He's completely nasty, something that Joe Biden has always been, and one of the reasons I find it so laughable, they try to portray him as this nice everyman, because he's anything but.
I mean, Nancy Mace's fiance wanted to get nasty with her in the morning. So.
Stop it. Stop it.
Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning.
She did, truth be told, I know she didn't say exactly what they were going to do. Not that I think it left a lot to the imagination. She was pretty specific there. I mean, she was with the waist grabbing and everything. I mean, it's not quite a trashy beach novel, but it's I almost think she wanted to lean into it or something. I don't know. It deserves more psychological speculation. I know you think it's being overanalyzed.
She should do a follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we were going to get up at 9 o'clock tonight or 9 o'clock this morning, but again, I was running late, and I said, no, baby, we can't do it. You'll see me again later on.
I think that Kamala Harris's husband, the second gentleman, should probably call him to give him some tips on being emasculated in public. Because only he understands.
Yeah.
Right?
Ask Doug, hey, how do you feel that your wife is a moron and also has more power than you?
That's the truly embarrassing part, right? Not that his wife is vice president, right?
We can ask Doug if he's a power bottom.
Anywho, our boy Peter Doocy, one of the last journalists left in Washington, confronted Joe Biden about his 7th grandkid and the decision to finally acknowledge poor little Navy. I was going to say Navy Biden. Hunter Biden doesn't even want to let her have his last name. That's the class of the trash we're talking about right now. Here's Joe Biden's reaction.
Meeting with the mayors. I'm wondering if you have a comment on this report and court filing out of Arkansas that your son Hunter just made you a grandfather again.
No, that's a private matter. I have no comment.
Mr. Vice President,
But only you would ask that.
we gotta go.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
Thank you, guys. This is all
Classy.
the time we have. Mr. Vice
Yeah, it's Peter Doocy who's not classy for bringing this up, not the jerk who's not acknowledging his granddaughter in public. So talk about having issues, right? Growing up, this young girl is going to grow up being able to Google herself, finding out that her grandfather, the President of the United States, didn't want anything to do with her.
And also her mom's a stripper.
That's the least of her problems, amazingly.
Honestly, that's a power duo right there. Your dad's a criminal, also a coke and crack addict, and your mom's a stripper. That's a power. Wow, that is. I want to be a part of that family. She goes to middle school. Oh, so guys, what do your parents do? My dad's a crack addict and my mom's a stripper.
I think Nancy May should adopt her. I think that's her best outcome.
Make her reborn.
My God.
Yeah.
Parting thought before we move on to everyone's favorite segment of the evening. Let's just start calling it what it is. The Biden family is trash. And everyone listening to this knows exactly what I mean when I say the following. Trash is not socioeconomic. Right? Some of the classiest people I've ever met don't have 2 nickels to rub together. some of the most pathetic excuses for humans that I've ever engaged, professionally, personally, whatever, in my life, and I'm sure you've had similar experience, are also some of the wealthiest. So money can't buy class, and Joe Biden and his son are absolute scumbags. And that should matter. Again, maybe you think I'm old-fashioned. Maybe you think I'm a little hokey. Maybe you think that I'm naive. You know, say what you want about Donald Trump. His family looks a whole heck of a lot healthier than Joe Biden's, doesn't it? Worth remembering as we head into another presidential cycle. And with that being said, Dan, I've got that off my chest. It's time for the part of the evening that I often regret, but I still reluctantly allow you to carry on with. Well, why don't you tell everyone what's coming?
Hey, guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time.
It's depraved. It's disturbing. Sometimes it's inane. That's actually the best case scenario.
But sometimes you find some funny clips out of it.
Sometimes you get a belly laugh out of me.
I've gotten a belly laugh more than I could expect from you.
Dazzle me, Daniel. Dazzle me.
I'm all about exclusive audio, you know, right?
Oh, yeah, you put a lot of work into getting these exclusives.
So I have exclusive audio from a gas station in South Jersey. Real exclusive journalism here. It's a guy's trying to pump up his gas tank, and this is pretty much the interaction that we have.
Turn it down. You want gas? How much you want? What do you want?
I'm trying to fill up.
Yeah, you trying to fill her up? I fill her up. You're in New Jersey. It's a state law.
No,
I fill it up.
I'm trying to pump
in the car.
myself.
Now you keep your ass in the car, all right? I'm filling it up for you. How much gas you want, and what do you want it for?
Fill me up with premium.
Think this thing takes premium? No shot this thing takes premium. No shot this thing takes premium. This thing takes regular.
Dude, it don't take regular.
Dude, it definitely takes regular.
It don't take regular.
It takes regular.
It don't take regular.
All right, you're right. It does take premium. It does take premium.
That's what I said.
Cash or card?
Yeah, you take Apple Pay?
No, we don't take Apple Pay. We don't take none of that bogus, that crypto. We don't do that. None of that bogus. Cash or card?
All right, card. I get card.
Okay, I'll fill her up. Yo, I can't seem to open this gas tank.
Dude, you gotta push it first.
Ah, I'm pushing it as hard as I freaking can.
You gotta push it first.
All right, you're right. I pulled it.
Yeah, it's open.
How accurate is that?
The South Jersey O is really good. Open.
Okay, well,
O.
The guy is from South Jersey.
I know. I'm saying it's
Yeah.
well. So hold on. Back up for a second. Was that a skit or was that real?
No, it's a skit, but he's from South Jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got the O.
Yeah.
Assuming that's somebody that wasn't authentically a South Jersey and it was trying to portray a South Jersey, and they did a good job. That was my point.
Is that how it actually is in South Jersey?
No.
No.
No, it's not at all.
Is it pleasant or?
Getting gas?
Yeah.
There's very little conversation. I pull up, I say what I want, they put it in the tank. And at least until Chris Christie conspired with Democrats to raise our gas tax several years ago, we had some of the cheapest gas in the country.
So the question is, do you tip the gas attendant?
No, you don't tip the gas attendant.
That was a debate between Belle and I. We went on vacation. She was like, "You should tip him." I was like, "No, you should."
You should ask me. And I, of course, would have told you to tip because you don't have to, as a prank.
She was paying for the gas anyway, so it was her money.
Bella was paying for the gas?
Yeah, because I paid for the whole vacation.
Why are you taking the beautiful Bella on vacation and making her pay for gas?
So here's our deal. I paid for the whole vacation. I paid for all of her dinner. I paid for everything, as long as you pay for the alcohol and gas.
That's like vacation, gas and alcohol. What else
we didn't drive. Well, we drove down there, but we drove with my parents majority of the time. So every dinner.
Don't worry, Bella. I got the vacation, but
I paid for the vacation.
You're gonna pay to get there and get us home, and all the booze is on you.
No, we only stocked up once for booze.
Oh my God. I don't know who has a worse deal. Nancy Mace's fiance or Bella.
I spent way more on that vacation than she did. She filled up twice.
All right. Well, I want to see receipts.
I don't have the receipts. I don't take receipts.
All right.
Sorry, this conversation is closed.
She's actually over in the YouTube chat still, and she says, "I offered, I promise."
Yeah.
All right.
It's not like I just forced her to do it.
Tap twice, Bella, if you're saying this under duress.
What?
I don't know what that looks like on YouTube, but
she offered.
He did spend a lot more than me. This was a MT contribution. What's that mean?
She meant my.
Oh, my. Okay.
That was her contribution.
Okay.
I did all the dinners. I did the whole vacation. I did everything, minus the alcohol, which we only got once.
I'm just making sure that you're being a gentleman because I know you may not look at it this way. Even when you are taking the beautiful Belle on vacation, you still represent the show. And I can't have you being a cheapskate.
No one knows who I was when I was walking in Cape May. Like, oh, my God, it's Dan.
Of course they are. There's people pulling you over, wanting to hear you do your female impressions.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see the tattoo of my signature on you.
Yeah.
I know that happens. Don't downplay it.
No, she offered. It's not like I just said, hey, you're going to do this. No.
Okay. All right, just making sure.
It's fair. Everything's equal here.
All right, good.
Other than that, every time we go out, I pay for things.
Good. You should.
I do.
Even
though I don't have the money because I get paid scraps out here.
Welcome to love, baby.
Yeah.
Welcome to love.
You ever wear? I mean, obviously you're wearing shorts now.
Yeah.
But have you heard of the Hoochie Daddy shorts?
I have not. I'm not sure I want to, but I have a feeling I will.
Do you want to hear about the Hoochie Daddy shorts?
Yeah, might as well.
I made the mistake of wearing my brand new Hoochie Daddy shorts today, and I've been catcalled 17 times. Like, hey boy, what that pee-pee do? I don't know. It pees. It's small. Leave me alone.
It pees and it's small.
What?
The Hoochie Daddy shorts.
So I just looked it up. I guess these are like tight. I've seen these at the beach. A lot of Gen Zers like wearing these like tighter, like kind of booty shorts that women used to wear, but I guess now guys are.
Yeah, the Hoochie Daddy shorts.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Your generation. Yeah. One of the beauties of being a man was that you got to wear comfortable clothes. Why would you eliminate one of the few advantages you have?
Navy Prepper on YouTube says the lady never pays. Yes, I know she never pays. She offers a lot of the time, and I always say no.
I'm trying to class him up, Navy Prepper, but I don't know what to tell you. I can only do so much with 3 hours once.
When we went to the movie, she offered to. She's like, "How much do I owe you?" I was like, "Nothing."
I'll submit this to the tribunal when I fill in on Tuesday on the Kale and Company program.
They already know.
All right, yeah, but Greg and Nick will take my side and team up.
No, we've had this whole conversation before. We had it on Friday. Slow your roll there, buckaroo.
They agree with you?
They didn't see an issue with it.
All right, well, I will make them see an issue.
We're not bringing this up again.
Yes, we are. We got 4 hours on Tuesday.
Oh. Let's see here. Scuba divers. You know about them, right?
Scuba divers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the concept.
Good. Well, there's a specific...
I used to own a fish tank.
Okay, well, there's how like when they're going into the water, they go backwards.
Yeah.
There's a specific reason as to why they go backwards. Do you know why?
I'm about to hear it.
Well, do you know why?
I don't.
Did you know that scuba divers roll backwards off of boats? Because if they rolled forward, they would go into the boat.
Boat.
Now see, that's my sense of humor.
Boat.
Yeah. They'd go into the boat.
That's right.
It's true.
Right? If they roll forward, they go into the boat.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Moving on.
Are we just saying obvious things now on Twit Talk?
Boat. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Did you know strawberry milk is actually vegan? Because it's not made from cows. It's strawberry milk.
No, it has dairy product in it.
That's where they get you. It's not regular milk. It's strawberry milk, as our favorite boy here says.
And then, stay with me here, strawberry milk. And I know what you're thinking. What? Literally, it tastes so good. And plus, shout out vegans. It's vegan because it's strawberry milk and not like cow milk. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I just looked this up. This is a thing. This guy really thought it was.
Yeah, there's also
he thought that there's someone out there milking strawberries.
There's a bottle of vodka, like a handle of vodka, right next to him. So I want to think that he was making something with vodka and milk.
Yeah, this might have been an alcohol-induced opinion.
No,
perhaps
no.
He really thought it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's one of the wonders of Twit Talk every week here, that you see just how well these people vote. That's all I have to say. We'll leave it at that.
So, strawberry milk, now vegan for all you vegans out there.
There you go. This is the Tide Pod Challenge generation.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but people on TikTok like to do hauls. And do you know what a haul is?
I do not.
Like an HAUL.
I understand what the vocabulary word is, but what is it referring to?
They like doing clothing hauls, or they like, oh, look what I got from the grocery store
Oh,
haul.
I see. What I've...
Yeah, that kind of thing. This guy...
I picked this up when I was at the thrift store.
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy basically guessed everything what this girl got, and it's honestly, it's fascinating.
Guess what I got, guys? Guess what I got?
I bet you got a strawberry donut with sprinkles, huh?
Oh, I got a strawberry donut with sprinkles.
Forget about it!
I think I'll do a wraparound.
Goodbye! Put a little French dressing on it.
It's a vegan donut then, huh?
Sprinkles.
Forget about it!
I guess it's a vegan donut.
Because it's a vegan donut.
No, that's strawberry icing. That's not strawberry milk.
The milk of the strawberry.
I bet you got a strawberry donut with sprinkles, huh?
Oh, I got a strawberry donut with sprinkles.
Forget about it!
I've never heard anyone more New York than that.
Oh, you Gen Zers.
Put a little French dressing on it.
You Gen Zers.
Goodbye!
The stuff you guys find amusing. It's adorbs. Do you still say adorbs?
No.
Okay.
And I'm ashamed that you would say that we do.
I don't know.
This is why you have your old pal Daniel to help you.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
One of the many reasons you're here.
Yeah. I have 2 Theo Von clips for you today.
Nothing wrong with that.
I got 2.
Usually the highlight of TwitTalk. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I got 2 of them here. Theo Von says he's not racist.
Okay. Doesn't seem like a guy with a lot of malice in his heart towards anybody.
You know.
All right.
Couple of
Is this going to maybe change my mind?
It might.
Oh,
yeah.
I got my finger on the dump button.
We're not racist, or I'm not trying to be. You know, I have some flare-ups in traffic, but overall I'm good.
Some flare-ups in traffic.
Yeah, some flare-ups in traffic.
We've all known that person, not referring to racist stuff necessarily, but who turns into a different person when they're being affronted in traffic. They may be the sweetest person that would get out of their car to walk a duckling family across the street under ordinary circumstances. But if you cut them off, better watch out. We all know that person.
Have a couple flare-ups in the car, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Couple flare-ups. And then this last Theo Von clip that I have. Again, one of the callers for his show calls in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah.
I also coach volleyball, and so I change at school, and so I was changing my classroom for volleyball.
Man, I don't know if I'm being a pervert or if I'm just being just regular. You know, in Los Angeles, you're not allowed to have any interest in women anymore.
You know that?
That's actually factually true.
So, you know, I feel like what we're doing right now is it's like almost like prohibition. But that I'm secretly having to do this in a studio somewhere on the 3rd floor of a building. Onward.
And I just left all my clothes on near my desk, and I obviously changed into a sports bra, and so I have.
Oh man. You ever have one of your fantasies? You feel like it just called a telephone number? That's what I feel like right now. I mean, this is something. You know, this is a middle school teacher telling me she just changed in her classroom, and you got me. You know, you got my wiener starting to loiter around around my waistline. You feel me? Onward.
I routinely complain that Americans don't always use the English language as well as our English counterparts across the pond. Theo Von, an exception to that criticism, Dan. Every week here on the Matt Rooney Show, where his clips can be heard, thanks to you.
His wiener's loitering around his waistline.
Well, I appreciate all of you loitering around 1210 WPHT every Sunday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. I am Matt Rooney. Thank you, producer Dan. Thank you to everyone that listened and contributed. Until next week, stay safe, stay sane, and keep fighting for this greatest nation in God's creation. It's worth it. And see you Tuesday.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me talk with you about